gentlemen, this is a safety announcement. In the interest of everybody's safety on board, please do...
We were told not to film, and I'll probably get thrown off the train. Bless you. But we're gonna try to see if we can shoot anyway. We're going from London all the way to Manchester, part of the Jay and Silent Bob Get Old UK tour. But so far, I don't know if you can see through here. This is amazing because it is actually really beautiful. It's so fast, so you can probably barely see it. I was trying to take pictures yesterday, like snapshots, and it was going way too fast. So everyone's looking at us going, what are these guys doing? Right, I think you have to be quiet here, so. Look at this, little buttons. Wow, sandwiches, lots of sandwiches here. Look at it. Do you guys mind? You do mind? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. This is the part I think that Kevin is telling me has the see-through, but see, on these trains, they got these little things here. Kevin was, oh gosh, no! I'm sick of this bullshit. I just want to eat my food.
4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Jay and Silent Bob get old for good. Everybody say yay, 'cause it's Jay and Silent Bob. Everybody go, whoa, they got home.
We're going, man.
We're doing it.
This is we want to see how we pray right before the show. Heavenly Father,
Yes.
please show us the way
Do it.
to be dirty in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Help us have a natural conversation. Like
Yes.
natural, man. Amen. We'll knock them out the box.
One more. Let's go this way.
See what they got.
They should have died. They're still alive. Let's get these motherfuckers out on stage. Welcome to Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. Now here are your hosts, Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith. Holy shit!
Every saga has a middle age, and this is what happens when Jay and Silent Bob get old. I'm Kevin Smith.
Jason Mewes!
We are in a very, very crowded theater here in Manchester. Manchester. Do you know anything about where we are tonight? Did you do any studying? Did you look it up on Wikipedia at all?
I did, but it came up with there's a Manchester in the States. So I was like, Manchester, what is Manchester all about? Let me know about Manchester. And then all of a sudden I started seeing all these things and it didn't look too awesome. But then I realized I was looking at the States. Manchester in the States.
Where
right?
is it?
Manchester, Ohio or something? Tennessee, there it is, see?
They know about it. They're like, that's the Lex Luthor of this fucking Manchester.
It's bizarre. It's
It's
the
Bizarro Manchester.
But I was trying to look stuff up and I found the accents. I was trying to, I wanted to see what the accents was like because the accents there, I was like, is it the same as London? We just came from London. And I was wondering if there was a difference. Boo!
Wow, man. What's that about? Oh, that you just like, oh, fuck that city. It's one of those things. It's not like, don't you guys know they've sacrificed children there? And we're like, really? What is it? He was asking me in the car. He's like, what would you compare this to? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, if London is like New York, what would Manchester be? He goes, is it be Newark? And I was like, Newark, New Jersey? No. I said, more like a Boston kind of thing, because they're into sports here. They got two fucking teams, I guess. Manchester United, I believe, is one. Holy shit, man. And then Manchester City, is that the other one? It's like fucking evenly split, man. We're gonna have a fucking soccer riot tonight, man. They're gonna split down the middle. They're like, that's football, my bad. Sorry. The only riot's gonna be against you, fat man. There's no such thing as soccer. Why did they call it? Oh, because we already had a football, I guess. You had the football first. Look, I'm not saying we had it first, all right? It's your fucking football. Take it. Go leave me alone. It's just like fucking grade school all over again.
So wait, why do you think they called it? It's football here, and then when we had football, why did they
Because
name it?
in our football, they literally kick it, and they're like, football. Whereas here, they're like, you're out of your fucking mind. It's footy.
But I tried to look up, but I did, I was looking it up and I was trying to find the accents, and there was one girl who was explaining on YouTube the accent, so I found myself sitting there and she's like, come on, do it with me. She's like...
What, like a tutorial video of somebody's like, I'm going to teach... What was she teaching you?
She was saying like it was like all the different things, like instead of R, it's like ah. And then she was trying to say like YouTube. You guys, and she explained, she's like, you guys say YouTube, but we say YouTube. And then she's like, do it with your mouth. And it was funny because someone commented underneath, it says, pause it at 3:18. And it shows her, when you pause it, it's her like this. It's funny.
This poor chick's trying to do everyone a solid, teach people what the accent sounds like. You're like, everybody, look at her blowjob face.
It really was, though. And I paused it, and I was like, wow, that looks pretty cute. It was nice. But she was explaining that when they say, like, when she says, like, YouTube,
You can't talk into your fist and have it project.
There's a microphone right here. When you say YouTube, we go like YouTube and we open our mouth, but she was saying that
Keep it
the
tight.
accent, it's like this.
She's saying that if you're going to say YouTube, like American YouTube, you got to Kev Smith your mouth, like, ah. And if you want to say YouTube British style, you got to Jason Mewes your mouth.
Yeah. Wait, like that's my pee-pee right there? You're saying that my pee-pee could fit
I wasn't, but yeah, that's right.
No way, bro. It's this big. Speaking of my penis.
Yes.
Do you want me to tell you a little story?
Fuck yeah.
So...
If it's about your dick, yeah.
Well, I just had to talk about this. I found this herb that I'm gonna have to get. Well, I guess it's a pill, but it's I got it at one of those herb shops, and they were explaining to me. They were trying to say it makes you last longer, right? So I'm always hoping.
Where was this herb shop?
It was in like China. It was in London, in the Chinatown.
You bought fucking herbs for your dick instead of buying a fucking mogwai, man? Like, if you're gonna be in a Chinese medicine shop, you're like, give me that fucking thing, it sings.
I gotta go back. I didn't have enough loot for that.
Only you walks into that shop and the guy's like, you could take it to Mogwai. Do not feed him after midnight. Do not get him wet. You're like, do you have dick medicine?
I was. Well, you know what?
I guess this could be a kind of dick medicine.
Would you buy one if you saw one here?
A Mogwai?
Yes.
In a heartbeat, man. Knowing what I know, knowing that if you get them wet and they fucking try to kill your mother, still. I just keep them in a, like, what do I put them? A hyperbolic chamber, man. Essentially just devoid of all oxygen, and I guess he would die. But that would...
What about a rain jacket?
He wouldn't get wet, that's for sure. What?
Or you can get him a rain jacket. Like, just get him one of those little rain jackets, right? And an umbrella.
Boy, you should have been working at the studio when they were making that movie, man. You're like, I'd just like to point out the obvious. If they get this little guy a rain jacket, no movie.
A little umbrella and shit, like...
Yeah, but that might have worked, because he didn't want to get wet. Like, that
No.
whole fucking picture, he was just like, no! He was always indicating that fucking bad shit was going to happen. Like, follow the old man's rules. He wasn't fucking around. Do it, Billy.
He was scared. Right?
Yeah.
He would always, like, jump back away from the water.
Yeah.
But if he had an umbrella, he'd be like, "Satodu." He'd fucking snap it open and shit.
Yeah, because he wouldn't want to get wet
No.
himself. That'd be tough, man. Could you imagine you're the Mogwai? You're Gizmo, and fucking one of the rules is you can't get wet. That means you could never get laid.
You think?
Your whole life. Could you imagine? You're like, let's do it. And the moment your dick gets wet, you're like, ah!
What if he throws
All these
a rubber
fucking
on?
brothers keep popping off on you, and they're like, my Gizmo, you know. And they want in and shit like that.
Again, though, you just need a rain jacket. A rubber, right? Another one. Throw a fucking Jimmy on, and he's okay. He's just like, but he can't go too deep because
He's
you know,
like,
like the
this little thing's been alive for 500 years. And you're the first person that said slap a rubber on it.
I'm telling you, just
Gizmo's like, thank you.
while he's fucking, he's like,
His little song becomes about you, man. Mewes. He taught us to fuck. Okay, so you got some dick medicine in Chinatown. Always a smart decision.
I did. Well, I was getting a massage and I heard a dude talking about not a full. I got like a. I was getting a back massage.
Now I know you weren't hunting mogwais.
I went in there to get a back massage.
Some guy's like, you buy this, you don't feed it after midnight, you don't get it wet. You're like, yeah, where can I get a full release massage? You got someone in the back, man? He's like, no, this is mogwai. Fuck mogwai. I want hand job.
No, it was weird though. I wanted a massage and I went down there. It was like the reflexology, whatever. So they fucking, I go in there and there's like a couple girls there and there's like a chair.
You didn't know what reflexology was? You're like, I guess I'll give it a shot. You sit down, you're like, what's reflexology? They're like this.
Do you think I'd get in trouble for that?
No, that's you. They just force a cock in your mouth, man. You're like, hey, what the fuck? They're like, you should read the literature, man.
They're like, pressure points right here, motherfucker.
Is that what it's about? Is it like they hit you with the pressure points and shit?
Yeah, well, like they're saying like if they touch your like fucking big toe and shit, it'll stop your period. My man period.
Yeah, I was gonna say. And they're like, watch us prove it. And they tap your toe. They're like, where's your period?
I'm like, you're 200 pounds, quick. No, they say, yeah, so they were like, I went to go in to get the reflexology to get on my feet, but then I was worried about it, my feet, because I'm too ticklish. So like they're trying to rub it, and I'm like, oh. Like I really am, my feet are sensitive.
That's what a reflexologist or massage therapist wants to see. The guy on the table is like, oh. You're like a character out of a fucking David Lynch movie, man.
So I went to the place, and I got the feet done at first, and he started like knocking on my foot. So it was cool because I wasn't jumping around too much.
What do you mean knocking? Like literally just tapping on the bottom of your foot?
They sort of like punching and shit. He's like. But the weirdest thing first, sorry, I have to get to this, is he brings me in the back. It's this dude, and there's like a couple girls, and I'm like, cool, this girl's gonna rub my feet and shit. My feet are probably disgusting, but whatever. That's the thing I can't get. I would not want to rub someone's feet, because I know my feet, if it's like sweating all day and there's like fucking shit built up under my toenails, and they're like starting to curl over my toes. And they're clawing shit. Anyway, but then they bring me down the stairs.
So you're saying that you don't understand how they could fucking subject themselves to that nastiness.
Yeah, but I guess,
why don't you make it easier on them and clean your fucking feet up?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I would think
like,
they'd have.
I don't know how they could deal with it. They're like, neither do they. So why don't you help them out, man?
Well, I would think they'd have like a bucket and shit, like right there, and they're like, take your shoes
You're
off.
You're like, no, I think it's their responsibility.
No. But the weird thing is I started getting creeped out because they started bringing me down these long flights of stairs. Like I didn't know it was so deep. Like the city, there's like fucking underground tunnels and shit. I bet there's caves. I bet Batman's here. No. But so we went real deep and they did my feet. But then he asked me to lay down. I wanted to get my back done. But then I heard the guy next to me. He's like, so how much are these, man? So what does it make you do? Does it make you... And then they were trying to explain to him. But I think they didn't want to say it. They were a little embarrassed that it makes you last longer. Which I'm always hoping. Because I know even my buddy had Viagra once. And he's like, take this, it makes you last longer. I'm like the sensation will be there, but you just won't come. You won't, explode. Because that's my problem. It's like, it's about the explosion. My dick will stay hard. Like most of these medicines or pills like the Viagra will make your dick.
Are we still talking about your feet?
No, we're talking about my dick. I'm at the place.
Oh, I thought you were like, he's tapping my feet and my dick explodes, man. You're still getting your feet tapped. You're about to get a massage, and then you hear a conversation in the next stall.
I had to explain that story because it was like creepy dungeon. Okay. And then I started hearing about pills, so I wasn't gonna buy into it. But there's all these different herbs that's supposed to help your period and your eyes and your ass and all that.
Why are you so interested in your period?
Well, that was one of the big signs. It was like, men, period, ass, acne, bunghole, nutsacks. No, because they had big signs written all
And you
over
keep
for it.
getting drawn to the one that you'll never have to deal with.
The period.
You're like, Doc, you got to take away this period.
I do have my old lady. I do deal with it, but I was trying to explain to you is that I would hope something would make it last longer. Because I mean, I don't know. I last about, if I don't fuck for a couple weeks, like I last like 3 minutes. My dick will stay hard. I can get a boner and it's good, but I come fast, right? So I wanted something that will make me be like, oh yeah, oh yeah.
What about a
And
rubber
it's like-
band?
And it's like 25 minutes later, and I'm just like, because I have to do that. Wait.
Is that your closer face? That's how Jordan knows you're done? You're like, ah!
Well, no, I didn't come yet, but I'll have to do that thing, and she gets pissed a lot too. But because she'll be about to, and then I'll be like, wait. Because if there's even one little motion, one more little stroke on the shaft, yeah. So I was hoping there'd be a pill that it would be one more stroke, but it's like, no way, you're not going. And then I'm like, instead of me being like, wait, I'm just like, yeah, keep going, girl. And then she's like, I'm coming. I'm kidding. So I got suckered into when I was leaving. I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna see if that shit works.
Well, that
The
doesn't
pill.
sound like you got suckered into it. It sounds like you were eavesdropping, and then you were like, I'll take some of that.
Well, at first, no, because at first
They
I'm
weren't
like,
even trying to sell to you, man.
That's true.
You're the most eager buyer on the planet. They're like, don't you want to know what it does? You're like, gets rid of my period? I'll take it.
So I got one, and it was like 150 pounds for like 6 pills. So I'm like, come on, man, how do I even know this thing works?
Let's do the math. That sounds like a lot.
It is a lot, right?
150, 6 pills into 150, 25 pounds a pill. Wow, well done, man. You guys are smarter over here. It's not just the accent. You could do the math. All right, man, so $25 a pill. Now you're back in like Oxycontin land.
But the consequences ain't as hard. But
Okay.
it does sort of the same thing.
What does it do?
Because pills, that's the one thing when I used to do painkillers sort of hold you back. See, painkillers actually hold you back. The problem is it's the opposite, where like most of the pills they have out there will keep your dick solid. Like it gets the blood in there and shit. All of a sudden you got no blood and you're fucking, the blood's rushing out of your head and you're all flush and you're like, oh.
Have you tried Viagra?
I have, yes. I got one.
Why?
Well, because I was like, fuck it, man. I want to see what it's like and see if I fuck like a champ. But I didn't like it because my dick got solid. And of course, the night that it got solid, that specific night that I took Viagra once, my face started getting all flush and shit. And I really didn't even want to fuck at that point, but my dick was rock hard. I'm like, this really works. And then I was thinking I'm gonna last like
This
30
poor
minutes.
fucking chick, man, just looking at you and you're like, we gotta fuck her, I'm gonna explode!
My face is all red and shit. I'm all lightheaded. And then I was like, but then she's like, I'm tired now. And then at that point, though, the blood, I think, all went to my dick and my nuts. That I was all like lightheaded and I felt weird. That I almost did. I was like, I just need to lay down. And I laid down, but I'm laying there with a fucking, my dick it actually keeps it rock solid. And then of course I was like, fuck it, let me just try to fuck lightheaded. So I leaned over and tried, and she's like pushing me away. So of course then she's like,
It's amazing. Most people would be like, I should go to the hospital. And you're like, maybe I should try fucking lightheaded.
So then she's like, I really don't want to. I'm like, but I took the pill, man. It's like ready, it's solid. This is gonna be the best sex we ever had. And she's like, fuck you. And then she lays there and she's like, just jerk off. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. So then I remember, like, again, I'm like lightheaded and I'm like trying to find my dick.
Yeah, where is it, man? You're reaching over there. You're like,
Well, because
it doesn't sound like you're jerking yourself off. It sounds like you're jerking others off.
It really did, though. It really did fuck with my, like, equilibrium and everything. But then I was, like, jerking off and shit, and it was solid. I'm like, but this shit really works, man. Look how big it looks. Not really. But it didn't.
Once again, fucking still have, like, even though you're losing consciousness, enough presence of mind to be like, I'm getting good things out of this still. How big my cock looks.
But I think, all right, at least if I come, it'll go away. Because at this point, too, it's been a while.
That's the point. It doesn't go away, even when you come.
Well, I was hoping that it would go away, and then if I got excited again, it would get up.
You want a remote control on your dick, essentially.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Pretty
we're
much.
just like click, ping.
So, but I start jerking off, and it just isn't working out because I'm too fucked up. And I was like, maybe if I go to sleep, it'll just go away. So it did. Excuse me, I fell asleep. I hated Viagra, and I'm telling my buddy who gave it to me, I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you take that, dude. Like, my head was all weird, and I didn't want to fuck, but then I did want to fuck. But, so this, though.
Yes.
This pill.
Yeah.
That I didn't buy the 6. They had 2 different kinds. I'm like, well, how much, can I just get one and try it, and if I like it and it works? And they're like, we don't lie. We don't lie, it works. And I'm like, yeah, but how do I know? So let me try one. So they sell me one for 10 pounds.
Did you explain to this ancient Chinese secret man, did you tell him that, like, this isn't about staying hard. I want a pill that when I'm about to come, it'll just not let it happen.
No, because when they explained it, when they were talking about it, they didn't even want to talk. They didn't even want to say exactly what it was. It just
no
said,
doubt, man. I'm sure you're sitting there going, help my dick. And they're like, we don't even want to talk about it, man. Just grab something and go.
No, but it's again, they were big signs explaining, like, period, man.
Once again, man.
Period.
That really captured your imagination. You're like, we got to wipe out this period, man.
But I didn't want to get into it and be like, well, look, this is what I want to happen, all right? My dick's fine, but I just want the cum to go, squirrel. I don't want to have that. I don't want that to happen, man. I want to just be like, yeah. Half.
You just want highs and then immediate lows, like
Well, I want to. Yeah, I want to.
When we were kids, there was a toy. You might not remember it, man, because it was when Star Wars came out. I think like between Star Wars and Empire, there was a ship. It was a toy that was a spaceship, and you pressed a button on it, and it had this elevating noise. If you pointed it up, it went ooh, and if you pointed it down, it went ooh. It was amazing. I'd seen commercials for it over and over. I was like, can we please get that, man? Like, I'll give up allowances. Please get that fucking thing. It was so weird I don't remember its name. Finally, what was it? Star what?
Starbird.
Starbird? I think you're right, man. When I got it, the first thing I did was fucking, because every time I saw the commercial, like they showed the kid going, ooh, ooh. And so the moment I got to put batteries in it, I was like, ooh, break.
It didn't. No, it didn't.
Because you're supposed to even it out, man. I just kept going. I was like, let's see how high I can go. Ooh, poof. That was it, man. Anyway, sorry.
But it was.
That reminded me of your dick. Ooh.
But luckily, I don't just let it go.
You want Starbird for your dick.
Well, it does explode. It does break, technically.
Yeah, eventually.
Star Dick Mewes goes, ooh, and if she doesn't stop, then it goes, boof. So she has to even it out, and that's how she does. She goes, stop. Ooh.
They should have had you program the toy back in the day. You would have sold quite a few more. Mommy, is this what space sounds like? No, that's what sex sounds like. All right, so wait, you get some fucking dick medicine.
Ooh.
$10 a pill. Trustworthy as fuck. What happens?
What do you think happened? Do you think it worked? No, it worked. So what happened is I had to take it an hour before I'm gonna fuck. So the good thing about this too is this is why I thought even if it didn't work, I was like, look, I'm buying this, and this means we have to try it out tonight. So this is like an open door.
So for $10, you were gonna get laid regardless.
Yes.
I'm sure that makes your wife feel really good.
No, but she was into it. She's into trying, she's like, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah, she's like, take the mystical medicine. Let's see what happens.
So I take it, and then she gets in the shower, and some time goes by, and then I'm like, man, I don't think it works. Like, I wonder. But then I was thinking, like, it's only going to kick in if we start like fooling around, we do some foreplay, and then it's gonna be like, oh, I'm excited, let me get up there, and then all of a sudden it would be solid and it would be bigger because it also said that. Ooh. So I was hoping that but then all of a sudden I was like, I'm gonna jump in the shower, and she got out and was drying off. Then next thing you know, I take off all my clothes, and as soon as I get my clothes off, I looked down and I noticed. Make the
It immediately went up?
Yes, and I looked over at it, I go, I think it works. This works. And then I was waiting I'm like, okay, well, this worked with the Viagra, but is my head gonna get all like fucking flush? I'm like waiting for it.
You're gonna lose consciousness again.
Or worse, because I don't even know what this is. I know that like at least my buddy tries Viagra all the time. This could have been like fucking squirrel ass and next thing you know, like I start fucking popping out with hives and shit. I'm like, we should fuck. But I'm waiting for some bad reaction, but she's drying off, and then I was like, all right, this is good. So we had sex, and it was awesome, and it was fucking solid. It was like a fucking roar, and that's what I did while we had sex. I was like, roar. No, but then
she's like, fucking you is like fucking the dude from Police Academy, man. Just a series of noises.
It was. So I was waiting. I was hoping it was gonna make me last longer. So now I know it works. It's solid, like Viagra.
Did it make you last longer, or no? It just made you hard.
It just kept me hard. I feel like it made me last a little bit longer. Maybe that was because it was so hard and solid.
You were preoccupied with it.
Yes.
Like, isn't this amazing? I can break fucking glass with this, man.
She was like shaking her titties in front of me, and I wasn't even paying attention. I was like, oh my God, look at my dick. But then we were done, and I was like, it was awesome. And I was like, this thing works, man. I was like, maybe I'll get more. And I was like, I don't know. We should probably get more, because that shit was solid, and it still hadn't gone down yet. And I'm like, all right, whatever, it's going to go down. It's just really excited. And that happens to me sometimes. Sometimes I'll get excited without any, mystical herbs or anything. It'll stay hard for a little bit until I start squeezing my dick and like pumping out all the cum. It's gross.
No, is that what happens? It was weird. You went into a tutorial. I think all of us know. But thanks for the refresher course. I pump my dick and it comes out.
So when it was all done, I get my clothes back on, but I'm still hard, and I had to do the tuck. But again, the weird thing is, you know how I know it worked is because usually I could do like the tuck to the stomach, up in like the elastic.
Put it in your waistband like a blaster.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be like, what up? And I'll be like, freeze. But usually the elastic holds it up, but it was so fucking solid. It was like, whoa! And my elastic's like pulling on my boxers, and I'm like, holy fuck. And
suddenly your underwear looks like mine.
It was, and it just wouldn't, and it stayed solid for a bit, and it finally went down. So I'm like, I got worried for a few minutes, but I laid down, and it was like staying up. But then I went down, and I fell asleep, and then I wake up like 2 hours later, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours later, to piss, and I wake up and fucking.
It started all over again?
And all of a sudden I looked down, and I swear it had a mouth, and it was like, hello. But it was solid, and I'm like, fuck. And then I had to go. Of course, the bummer of that is you got to go and be like.
The arched back to try to piss through a boner.
And it's trying, and I always piss on the floor, and then she wakes up, and she's like, you're a fucking pig. Look at the piss all over the place in the seat and shit. And I'm always like, but you don't understand. Roar! But yeah, so that was a little weird, but I'm like, all right, whatever. I had a piss, and I was sleeping, and who knows, maybe I was rubbing myself and shit. I rubbed myself into sleep. Jordan showed me a picture the other day on the plane. I was sleeping, and my hand's like this. It's so funny. I'm on my side, my hands in my pants, and I'm like, I wonder what I was doing if I was like finger my own ass when I was sleeping or something. So I went like this. I didn't.
I had a dream I was getting to third base with the stinkiest pussy.
In my sleep, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna finger you, girl. And it was really my ass. But she showed me the picture. It's so funny because it's like down. And she, I'm always sleeping with my hands in my pants and
You
shit.
do. You're that guy. Your hand's always on your fucking gear, whether you're asleep or awake. You've always got it secure, man. Your hand's like, is it there? Still there. Okay, I can go to sleep.
But I told you, right? I think that it's still there from years and years when I was younger. When I lived with my brother for a while, I used to wear tighty whities then. And I remember I used to wake up and he'd fucking pull the sheets down with his girlfriends watching and he'd fucking flick my boner, like my morning boner. And I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh. Or like, seriously, or like sometimes he'd like pull my fucking underpants off around my ankles and shit. And he'd be like, look at his little boner. And shit, and he embarrassed the hell out of me because his girls were always cute, and I always used to want to fuck them all, even when I was younger. I did.
That's the only reason you were embarrassed.
Because I feel like if it was his guy friends, he used to do shit like that too. Then I wasn't.
Your brother had some issues, dude. He's like, I just really have to expose my brother's dick to everybody.
Well, he did. He used to peel me all the time, which is weird in thinking about it now because he was like 18. 19 and I was like 13, so he's like doing this to a teenager and he's like peeling me,
pantsing you,
yeah, like pantsing me and shit in front of his friends and laughing. He'd like hang me on the flagpole by my underwear and shit, and I'd be sitting up there, they'd all be drinking and being like, do you see it? Look how long you think that elastic's gonna last. Because on the flagpoles, you know where you wrap the rope around to keep the flag. Yeah, he used to hang me from them. He did that a couple times.
So you think maybe you sleep with your hand on your gear as a protective measure?
I
Years
do.
Later, it's still bred into you from childhood.
I do. I think that, and I also like fucking sleep. I usually have sweatpants something on, but yeah, I'm always sleeping with that, and it must be. Sometimes I think I am actually playing with myself or fingering my asshole, but
in public.
I think that's part of it. But I woke up with the boner, and I'm like, fuck, okay, and then I fall back to sleep. 2 hours later, I wake up again. And fucking, I don't have a boner, so I'm like, all right, cool. See, it was just that before. In the middle of the night, if I wake up, I'll smoke. So I went out and smoked. And time I walked from the bed, put my pants on, and fucking got to the door, I fucking had another boner. I'm like, motherfucker. And I'm like sitting there, and it's fucking solid again. Now I'm getting a little worried, but then I'm like, it's not bad. At least it goes down, because I know that the warning from my friend told me Viagra and shit, and you see it on commercials, is like, if it lasts longer than 4 or 5 hours, go see a doctor. But at least it was going down,
right.
Then it was going up. But this shit worked. It just kept getting hard. So then this time I'm like, fuck it, man. I was like, I'm going to get a little booty again. Try at least. So then I lay next to the lady and I'm start like kissing her. I'm like, baby. I was like, this shit was really working, man. It won't stop. And she looks over and I have it out and I'm holding it and squeezing it, giving a little more. Fucking the helmet's fucking flustering and purple. And she's like,
it's a hell of an image to wake up to, man.
Right? It's right here. This is what it looks like too. It's like this. And I'm just like, come on, let's do it. And she's like, I'm tired, leave me alone. But then she gave me the nudge that it was okay. She pulled her leg up, pulls her panties down a little bit, and she starts playing. And I swear, so that boner lasted from all night and all day. It just kept getting boners. I'm debating on if I should get some more, because again, it works, but almost too good, right? It's like Boner City.
We can ask Jordan. She'll be the arbiter,
but
man.
It makes it solid like a champion.
Yeah, but it sounds like it fucking... Basically, the whole story, this is what I get out of it. I like taking this pill because it makes my dick look presentable. That's pretty much it. You just like the look of it, man. Like, I didn't hear once in the story, like, oh, Jordan thought it was amazing. The whole time, you're like, look at this. Is this gonna scare the period out of you? I got very lucky. We've been in England now for about 2 days, maybe 3 days, I guess. and we all traveled as a group and stuff. The kid came out, and Jen's parents came out as well. But everyone's got separate rooms, and me and Jen, of course, have a room to ourselves. And it's been like fucking vacation sex, man. It's awesome. It's because she's just like, I don't have to be quiet. Like at home, you know, the kids downstairs, Byron and Gail are downstairs, Megan and Alan usually in the house. You're sometimes there. Fucking, there's always life teeming around the house and whatnot. She loves it when the place is fucking empty because then she can get loud. And she's always just like, oh, I love it when nobody's here because I can walk around naked. And I was like, but you never do. And she's like, but I could. Always teasing that one day I might come. So here we are in the hotel in London, and you know, she's like, we don't know anybody here, so she's all fucking loud and buck wild and shit. And it's been awesome. It's been like this never happens. 5 a.m. she woke me up and she was like, let's fuck. And I was like, oh God, yes. Like, because I've been dreaming about this for 14 years, man. Like, I fucking wake up all the time and I'm the guy that's just like, good morning. Do you need a back rub? And we'll touch this and let's go. You know, just kind of getting right into it. So she's, you know, and she's like, I'm an afternoon fucker or a night. She's like, I love to fuck at night. I was like, I know, I like to fuck in the morning, man, because then I could get some shit done. Because otherwise, the whole day I'm thinking about, I just want to fuck. When are we going to fuck? What do you think she's up to? Does she want to fuck? Yeah, you know. So if I get it done early, then I can go be productive and whatnot. So she finally turned the tables, man. 5 a.m. yesterday morning. Now, the problem was, we did the show, we did +1 live, and by the time I went to sleep, it was 2 a.m. Then she woke me up at 5 a.m. for sex. And there was part of me going, I'm supposed to perform tomorrow night. Like, I got to be up on a stage with Mewes in Manchester. But I was like, I've been waiting my whole life for this moment. Fuck Mewes. And so I got up, got right the fuck into it and shit. And didn't do any of this like, oh, let me brush my teeth. Oh, let me do this shit. Like, you know, every once in a while I try to nail her in the morning. She's like, no, don't kiss me. I got to brush my teeth. I'm like, I'm eating your asshole. I don't care. Like, you're fucking, I don't care what your mouth smells like. I'm going to be down there, man. And it ain't any more pleasant. So fucking if I'm okay with that, don't you worry about your mouth. Plus, if anyone should be brushing teeth, it's me. Because like I said, I'm eating your asshole. So it was fucking astounding. It was awesome. I was like, oh, it'd be awesome if it was like this all the time. She was always like, wake up, it's 5 a.m. And she's just fucking riding me, holding on to the bedboard and shit. And she's like, wait, watch this shit. And grabs a bedboard and pulls her fucking crotch up to my face and glazes me. I'm like, oh. So fucking awesome. And then, like, fucking right in the middle of it, bring, bring, like, hello, hi, what are you guys doing? You know, it's our kid, and we're like, hi, we're not doing anything. Can you smell it? You know. But she didn't come with me out here. She stayed in London with the kid to go shopping. They were going to go to Harrods and all that stuff. So I came out by myself with you guys, you know, but I'm by myself in the room. I don't have a fucking buddy tonight.
So I'm gonna wake you up at 5 a.m.
Yes. That would be amazing. The moment I hit that room, it's so weird, man. It's like, I think if you're a dude and you get to a hotel room by yourself, your first instinct is like, okay, and you jerk off immediately. That was me. I got there and I was like, even though I just fucked this morning and shit and got fucked real well, I was just like, I got this whole place to myself? Fucking A. Right into it, man. That's why if you ever go into a dude's hotel room, never use the smaller towels, ever. Always go for the big towel because the smaller towels get put to use, man. I'm pretty sure that's what they're there for. And then in the fucking hotel in London, there was this I'd never seen before in my life. There was a vibrator in the hotel.
Ooh, and a French tickler, right? Is it like a feather? Did you get a feather?
No.
Oh man, I got a feather and a vibrator.
There was a vibrator, which I was like, this is
I never
fucked
seen
up.
that
They
either.
give it like you could cover it up with a prophylactic of some sort, but they're just like, you know, for the fucking lady traveler or the dude traveler, I guess. But I'm gonna use the shit out of it, man. A free vibrator. I was like, this is amazing. I showed Jen. I was like, we gotta use this. She's like, I gotta use it a lot more than you. But did you see? Are you gonna test it out? That's so weird to me. It's just like, but it makes sense. Like, why do they put Bibles in hotel rooms? Put a fucking vibrator in there, man.
Well, or they always put. Well, I've seen in the rubbers and like oil, like the fucking KY or whatever.
Okay.
But never the vibrator, and a feather. Right?
What
It
is-
might
what's
as well
the-
have. It might as well have like fucking. I think it's pretty awesome. I want to try to use it.
What, the feather?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try the feather. I want to try to tickle her ass with it, right, and see how long she can go with it before.
That doesn't even sound fun, man.
I don't know what's a feather for, right?
I have no idea. What would
It
one
doesn't.
use it for?
I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking
To cover up and shit? Like, that would cover my dick.
I think it's to like tickle the feet and start getting all sexy, right? You start rubbing the feather on the foot, and you're like, "Hello, tickle your ass with a feather," and she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Particularly nice feather." Oh, that was. Oh, wow, that was bad. I had to say it. No, I'm not. I'd never used the feather, but I've
You just
never
forgot about me for a minute, man. You just went and had sex with an imaginary person for a second.
I am gonna try. I'm gonna try to use the vibrator, but it also comes with what's it called? The fucking lotion, and it also came with vitamin C, which I thought was odd. Like, there's that really strong vitamin C out here that we don't get in the States. I wish it's in Canada too. Malcolm brings it in a tube. Anyway, I think it's weird. You open this drawer and it's like vibrator, rubber, fucking 99% germ killer, vitamin C. To me, it seems germs. It's almost like they're like, look, here's a rubber, go fuck. In case it breaks and you're out there fucking a bunch, this will help you fucking keep from getting sick or whatever. So take a little vitamin C, a little germ shit, and a rubber and a fucking vibrator.
I don't think you understand medicine at all. You're still working on the eat that orange, it'll cure scurvy.
Eat the orange, it'll cure the period. I get excited when we go in the rooms, like the one room we were in at the first place we were at, because we've been in a couple, but you open the window and there was the big fucking London Bridge, Tower Bridge, and the glass was from like, floor to ceiling, and there was a little bench there, and I'm always trying to get my lady to fuck on, like, the benches, on the tables. I'm like, I could push up against the window and shit, and we could be sightseeing and fucking. I could be like, half whole, and she looks back, she's like, oh my gosh, that structure's awesome. And I'm like, oh my God, they must have been geniuses. Oh yeah. But she never, she's not into
You'd be like, hey kid, Big Ben, Parliament.
She'll never do like, my lady anyway, like you said, your lady's in the hotel walking around naked.
No,
My lady
she's
walks
not.
around
That's
naked.
my thing. She doesn't walk around naked.
Oh, my lady walks
And my
around
lady
naked.
wouldn't
She won't
let
do
me
anything.
get away with that either. If I'm like, can we fuck against the window and sightsee at the same time? She'd be like, you've been hanging out with Jason too much.
Or
man."
like on the balcony, right? Like I want to do it on the balcony and shit. Like,
Why? Why do you want to do that?
because I think it'd be nice. It's like it would be fun, right? Like
No,
sitting there.
it'd be horrifying, man.
Grab,
That's a
well, you're
nightmare to me.
scared. Well, you're scared of you're the thing, but that might intensify it. Like when people like to like do weird shit to be like to intensify the sex.
Why did you go like this?
Well, because that's sometimes what's that stuff called? Like there's a name for it.
Choking?
What is it called?
Asphyxiation.
Yeah, there some people like put straps on. They're like, oh yeah, and like they
Yeah,
put it
some
around their
people,
neck.
I hope.
Well, no, I'm saying like people get into weird toys and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that the sitting on there, being afraid of heights, looking down, will sort of get the blood flowing, right? So you're like, oh yeah, and it's like, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm afraid of heights. Right? It's like.
No, dude, because the problem is I don't take my shirt off when I fuck, so I'd be wearing this, and this is pretty noticeable at this point. Little kids point out, Mommy, there's a naked American man fucking a skinny woman up there. He's lucky.
Speaking of the windows, so I have to tell this story too. So I was looking out. So last night we're getting in bed, and she's laying in bed, and the blinds sort of closed, but you could see through them. And the building next to us too. That's what I'm always telling her. She walks around naked, and I'm the one who's like, cover up. People are gonna see in the window and see you, because you'll see people out their window like looking at the view and stuff, and looking in the building. And I'm usually the creepy guy looking over at the buildings next to me, going. But I was talking to her, and then the building next to me was all dark, but one window was fucking super bright, and there was a bed there, and something caught my eye, and I'm like, no way. I swear, man, I think that's like a garter belt. I'm like, I think that's a naked woman. And like she'd look over, and she's already asleep, and I go out on the balcony for a cigarette, and then I start looking more, and the perv I am, I'm like, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to take some pictures of the view anyway. So I grab my... So I go take a picture of like...
And if I just happen to snap a photo of her, so be it.
So I take a picture of like the park, and then I take a picture of a building, and then I look over at the thing, and I try to zoom in. And this is where I'm so bummed, because mine goes like 35, 125, and I wish it was like a 300 fucking millimeter lens where I could be like, zzz. But I'm looking, and I'm like getting closer, and I'm like, that's a belly, a pair of panties, a garter, like the garter straps in the fucking leggings. I'm like, that's a naked girl. She's laying there. What is she doing? And all of a sudden,
she's laying on the bed, like face down or something.
Well, no, like on their side. So like her legs this way, and I could see her up to here. The window blocks from here up.
Gotcha.
And then I see like a hand go down like this and start like rubbing her belly and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a man. They're about to have sex. I've never seen someone have sex through a window, and I've always, I wanted to be pervy and watch this. And I have a camera available.
How excited you are, man.
And so I'm like, I have a camera available. This is going to be awesome. But only if I had that better lens. So then I'm like watching, but nothing. I swear, I'm like, all right, maybe she's asleep, because her leg, nothing moved except for that hand at one point. But I'm sitting there, I smoke another cigarette and another cigarette, and there's still nothing going on. So then I go inside, and the perv I am, I turn all the lights off, and I open the blind like this much, because at that point too, I'm like, someone's gonna see me like all creepy sitting here smoking cigarettes. So I go in the room, and I'm like this. And I'm like watching, I'm like, oh, something's gonna happen now. I just saw the leg move, and I saw him turn on the side a little bit more. But again, I'm gonna have to show you so you get, like, this is what I see. And again, it's from the waist down, but I see only, it's like this.
Are you showing me or them?
Them and you. So I only see the panties, leggings, and stockings, and like it's covered up in here down, so I see some flesh. So at this point, when they move her leg a little bit, and I think there's gonna be some sex, I'm starting to get a little chubby and shit. I'm like, man, this is fucking all right.
Where did you get a pirate's spyglass from?
Well, this is my camera. This is my.
Oh.
Sorry, it does look like I have a nice fucking like.
It does. You're like land ho.
Yeah, there she goes. But this is my camera. But see, the lens is like this. You gotta focus. So I just.
Gotcha.
So it looks like this. So I'm looking, and I'm starting to get a little excited. I'm like. And then I start going down. I'm like, maybe I should spank my dick, but I want to wait. I'm afraid I don't want to spank and come, and then they get naked, because then if she gets naked, then I've already came, and I'm not gonna be able to get into the whole scenery of it.
It's all about Mission Impossible level precision timing.
Yes, and patience.
Yes, Batman-like patience.
I'm making sure no sweat drips and shit. I'm like. So I'm waiting for the fucking. So I go out and smoke, and I go back in and piss, and I come out.
Why didn't you just rent a fucking porno and get it done with, man? It sounds like you invested 2 hours in this.
There was some time wasted, invested. Well, not wasted yet, but invested. So I'm sitting there, and I get my camera again. I'm like, you know what? If I do see this, do I video it? Do I try to take a couple pictures? But then what if they see me? Like, what if someone looks out, and even if not there, because I saw some like curtains moving over here and there. I'm like, they're gonna call the cops. I'm a peeping Tom. They're gonna come in. So I'm getting nervous. So I moved the curtain down just a little bit more. So now there's like this much. But then all of a sudden I see the leg move over, and I'm like looking. I'm like, what the fuck? And the belly's a little bit up. It wasn't as flat as on the side. There's a little bit of a belly and
Oh God, it was me, wasn't it?
No, it was a little misshaped for a curvy woman. And I'm like looking, I'm like, what the And so all of a sudden I see some movement, and I'm like, oh, this is it, man. I put my hand in my pants. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking, she's gonna take her pants off. And then all of a sudden the person whips up and looks out, and I'm like, fuck. But then I peek up, and I thought I'm busted, but not only like I wasn't busted, because then they turned their head. I really look again, and it was a fucking man. I swear to you, it was a man. I kid you not. I'm like looking for titties. I'm like this. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna see. There was no titties, and it was a man, and I'm still.
You finished, didn't you?
I didn't jerk because there's
Don't fucking lie. You're like, she's asleep. I'm in England. Fuck it. Oh!
No, I fucking had it ready, man. I was stroked it a few I just was more like kneading it, like kneading dough, getting it ready, right? So I got it ready, but I still don't understand why this man, I can't believe I invested at least 45 minutes to an hour staring at a man's garter belt, which maybe I didn't look, again, I didn't have the 300 millimeter lens. It could have just been fucking sock holder fucking jammies. You know, like you can buy, men can buy, like, if they want to keep their socks up, they can buy the belts.
Yeah, in the fucking 20s.
That was,
Did you tell Jordan?
I did tell Jordan in the morning. I told her to. And
Does she go,
thing.
wait, go back to the beginning. You were looking at a stranger and jerking off? You're like, yeah, but it was a dude. Isn't that weird? I just wanted to update some cats because people have been asking. For the last few months of my life, I've been dealing with a dog that's dying. Scully, the oldest dog that we've had. And I've been taking care of her like pretty damn hardcore. I've been glued to her hip for the last almost, I guess, 2 months at this point. But this trip is a real stretch away from home, man. Thankfully, we got somebody there taking care of her and whatnot. The back half of her just stopped working. Her legs eventually just kind of gave out, and it looked like she was going to die. And then she bounced back from the fucking brink and has been in a pretty good spirits. But the lower half of her refuses to work. So you can pick her up by the back legs, and she can walk on her front legs. And so that's what I was doing for a while and whatnot. Then she had a health episode where we couldn't do that. She couldn't hold herself up. Now she can again. But she's taken to do this weird fucking thing. Basically, I plant her all day long. I pick her up, like I wake up in our room, take her down to my office, plant her in a very comfy dog bed. She can't fucking move unless you help her move. So she's sitting next to my desk. This happened fucking the other morning. So I had to go in my bedroom, which is at the other end of the hallway. I was like, Scully, I'll stay here. I'll be right back. And, it's ridiculous to say stay here. She's fucking crippled. But still, give her a sense of normalcy. I was like, you stay, I'll be right back. So I go down the door and I go down to the bedroom, talking to Jen for a few minutes about something. And I come back and the dog is not there. I'm coming down the hallway and I look and I could see, because there's glass doors, dog's not in her bed anymore. And I was like, what the fuck, man? And I get into the room and I'm Scully, and I look, she's nowhere within eye shot. Then I go look on the porch thinking maybe she somehow got out there. Nowhere. And I'm like, this is fucking strange, because I hadn't been gone that long. There's nobody else in the house but me and Jen. Finally, I hear Scully can't bark anymore. She had a surgery to open her throat because it was closing, so she can't bark. She just does this, how, this ghostly fucking bark that really just fucking drives you apeshit in the middle of the night. You'll be sleeping, all of a sudden you hear, how. And you're like, ah. So I hear, how, and I'm like, where the fuck is that coming from? And off to the side of my desk, buried between like an old fucking monitor for a Mac and the desk itself and the library ladder, was Scully, like pinned. She'd gotten herself into this fucking corner. But I'm like, how the fuck did you move? Like, you don't move. I've been making you walk for the last 2 months, man. And I was like, that's fucking strange, man. I mean, she must have been a weird burst of energy. Later on in the day, went down to my bedroom and stuff, came back. She was at the door. Like, normally she's at the end of the room. There she is right at the glass door with her face against the glass. And it was like something out of the fucking Ring movies, man. Because all of a sudden she was like where she's not supposed to be and whatnot. Finally, I saw what actually happened. Because I walked out of the room and then I hid in the bathroom and I kept a knife. Just spying her because I was like, I gotta see what happens. And she literally, like, the fucking back legs don't walk, but she's got all this upper body strength, like a fucking orangutan or something like that. So she waits, like she'll sit there and she'll go, how, and that's to see, because normally I'll be like, Scully, stop barking, so she knows where I am. So she goes, how, and she realizes I'm not coming back, and all of a sudden she goes, and she hurls herself up on her front legs and starts walking toward the fucking door, man, like pulling herself. And her back legs are dragging along the ground, but she's fine with it. So I wait until she gets close to the door, man, and you can see she's all determination. She's trying to do it fast because she likes pulling a fast one over on me, I believe. So she's getting close to the glass doors, and I'm in the bathroom in the hallway and whatnot, and I can hear her skittering fucking closer. And then finally I jump out in the hallway, turn on the lights on, I'm like, aha! And she's like, ow, 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 ow. And she's wagging her fucking tail all caught, and I was like, you fucking bitch, man. And I was right. But I was like, I've been taking care of you for fucking 2 months. I'm picking you up and shit like that. I have to like flip you from the bed and whatnot. And you realize she could do some shit. She just don't want to. Like at a certain point when she got sick, all of a sudden we started catering to her and whatnot. So now she doesn't have to do much of anything. Food gets brought to her, poo gets taken away from her, and so now she's like, she's gotten to this point where she's like, I got this strength, I could fucking use it. And she starts using it to come to that door, to pull herself across the floor. And it's a fucking freak show, man. It's just this like fucking skittering horror imagery, man. If you just like flash your lights on and off while it was happening, you would terrify someone because she's just like, But she's fucking holding in there, man. Holding in there in a big bad way.
So, and you spend every day with her. So, it's like a routine, and now it's been...
It is. And the other dogs start acting out. Like Shecky was used to being the center of attention at all times and whatnot. Because, she's fucking fun. She's a wiener dog. I have this dachshund named Shecky, and it's just a thing of fucking joy forever, man. They're so funny to look at and so fucking weird, and they've got a lot of attitude and shit. But since Scully's gotten sick, all the attention has gone to Scully, and Shecky can't figure it out. Like, Shecky's like, what the fuck? Like, am I not cute enough anymore, Like, am I losing it and shit like that? So she's taken to acting out in fucking weird ways. It started very simply and very easy to catch. Like, she would just shit in front of my office door.
Fuck you.
Very simple. Pretty much, man. The first morning I saw it, I was like, oh, man, somebody didn't let Shecky out. God damn it, I picked it up, flushed it down the toilet. Fucking later in the day, it wasn't even the next day, man. I head to my office again, dog shit in the same place. And I was like, I was pretty sure I threw that out, Picked it up, threw that shit out. So I started like keeping an eye on her and trying to pay a little more fucking...
In the bathroom again, you're like, I'll catch his fucking shit in there.
So, I caught her once or twice being like, no, Shecky, you gotta go outside. No, and trying to calm her down and shit. But then Shecky started doing the weirdest shit, man. In the middle of the night, she usually spends the night sleeping with me and Jen, but since I'm getting up now with Scully more and just being like, hey man, I gotta flip her in the middle of the night. I sleep with one ear open because if she shits or pisses in the middle of the night, she's gonna roll in it all night long and stuff. So I gotta be able to swap the towels out if she even sits in the bed, because then what she'll do is fucking skid her out of the bed and you hear her nails on the wood floor. It's fucking horrible. In the dark of the night, you just hear the skittering. You're like, oh my God, it's a fucking, they're coming. The things that live in the floorboard are coming. They want my child's teeth. So, I try to get up now in the middle of the night, keep one ear on her and shit so I can get up and swap her out from the towels if she's shit or pissed on them. Shecky used to sleep with us, but now like there's so much movement. I'm like, just sleep down there. Sleep with with Scully, sleep with Mulder. And the whole fucking night then she just circles the bed anxiously waiting for somebody to like hear her and be like, okay, and pick her up and put her on the bed. Then she makes the fucking, gets some balls and then tries to jump up and shit. So I guess in the middle of the night, she jumped up on the bed. Finally, like you can hear her periodically. It's awesome. The bed's just high enough where it's a struggle for her. So she gets up and she makes it like partially a quarter of the way. And then her little legs are kicking on the comforter and it's all smooth. So she's just like, and she hits the ground. So it's awesome. So, you know, if she tries it long enough and hard enough, sooner or later she'll catch it like an angle or something and eventually get up onto the bed. I guess that's what she did in the middle of the night, man. I fucking literally woke up to this. This was so fucked up, and I just thank God that I sleep with the covers, or at least the rest of my body was covered up. I woke up to fucking, here's my toe, my fucking like big toe, and here's, I guess I'll use my thumb. Here's my big toe on my foot, and here's fucking Shecky. Like literally just, I've never seen her do anything like that before. Man, maybe when she was a puppy she'd gnaw on shit, but you know, dog's like 5, 6 at this point, and she's fucking gnawing on it like a little chicken bone, just like. And I fucking have my phone next to me, you know, and that's kind of like a flashlight in the middle of the night and stuff, so I fucking grab it, I'm like, what the fuck? And I put the light down, and the light hits her, and she's like. And then she buries right under the fucking covers, like into Jen. And I was getting freaked out. I was like, this is like a Guillermo del Toro movie, man. This is fucking strange. And so, you know, I picked up the cover and I looked at her. I was like, Shecky, what are you doing? And all I could see was her ass because she was burying her face into Jen's calves and stuff like that. So, you know, I went back to fucking sleep, man. And I fucking woke up to fucking this noise, and I thought like, oh, maybe Mulder's cleaning himself, but I was like, it's too light. That sounds like Shecky. And I fucking woke up to look over, and fucking Shecky is right here. She's not even touching me. This is fucking frightening. Just looking at her, she's laying right next to me. I open my eyes, and she's just going. I swear to God, dude, I almost peed in the bed because, you know, it's like you get that fucking phone and you turn on that creepy fucking phone light and it just hits the dog and she's just sitting there like looking at me like fucking plotting, and she got caught and shit. And then she was like, nothing going on here. Oh, it's fucking weird, man. You could tell she's feeling a bit displaced by the whole fucking
She's
Scully.
acting out on Scully too, because I remember right before I left, well, Scully or Mulder, I have video of it too, but it was awesome. We're sitting there talking, I look over, and Mulder or Scully, I think it was Mulder, was sleeping, and she's right up on his head, and she's like this. And she's like licking his ear and shit, and I felt it was. So I had a video.
It's weird. She's very like, she likes to show dominance to him, but the head humping is so dehumanizing, which I guess doesn't matter because he's a dog. But yeah, like the first time I saw it, I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" You know, I was like, there are easier ways to get off than hump the dude's head. Like he's not into it, whatever. And then I looked it up, and it was about just like, they like to do it to be like, you are mine, you are mine. So essentially,
like, half whole.
She'll run over to him periodically and shit, and he's just laying on the floor fucking sleeping, and she'll enter her room and look around and then skitter right over to him, and she's like, you are mine, you are mine. And he's laying there, he's got half an eye open, he's like, oh, fucking just leave me alone. And I was like, oh man, if my lady came up to me and started humping my face going, you are mine, I'd be like, I sure am. We like to play games here at Jay and Silent Bob Get Old from time to time. And one of the ones we like to play involves, well, all of them actually involve you, the audience. There's a game that we would like to play right here tonight in Manchester that's called Let Us Fuck.
Yeah.
This is a game, if you've never seen it or heard it, or you've like, it's pretty much it right there.
And I took the
what we
pill.
do is we pick some cats from the audience, people who volunteer, people who want to be involved in this sort of thing. We pair you up with Mr. Jason Mewes. We give you a sexual position that you're supposed to demonstrate for us. For example, if I just said fucking the Ewok face pumper. It's just that simple. Okay, so it's a non-penetrative act, so you don't have to worry about protection or anything like that. You will be fully clad as well, but things can get a little bit sexy. So
I did bring the feather.
So we'll do it 3 times, man. So we're gonna need 3 volunteers. So let's see some hands.
But you really have
All
to
right,
be.
come on,
oh,
pick me
shit,
guy,
he's
come on
into
up.
it. Pick me, get over here.
Pick me guys here. Oh, definitely you. Come on up, front and center. This is gonna be surreal. As they shuffle them up here, you might want to get yourself a little limber, Mr. Mewes.
Oh shit, it didn't work so much.
Is that mid-30s limber? You just kick a little bit?
I think this
You
might.
can't get very high, dude. Do it again. Do the kick.
That's the highest, but that's not so bad. Look, right? Well, it is, but this is the worst. This is my side kick. I swear to God, that's as high as I. Hold on. Am I flexing?
The worst American hero, G.I. Jay, is here. Come on up. Come on over here. What's your name?
Darren.
What is it?
Darren.
Darren, nice to meet you. Say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Are you from here?
No, I'm from Grimsby.
Where's that?
It's like the asshole bit of England, just on the east coast. It's lovely.
Right on, man. I'm a huge fan of asshole, so I'll be sure to visit that place. Okay, man. You heard the rules of the game. Let us fuck. You know what it's about. You're gonna get physically intimate with a dude who's been in movies and stuff.
Marvelous.
You might want to watch this dude.
Marvelous.
All we ask, of course.
Yeah, you're gonna get fucked.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be good. Okay, the position that.
No. I'm gonna need that. You just bend down. That's all good. Thank you very much.
The position that you guys will be doing for us this evening in honor of where we are, let's call it the Manchester United. The Manchester.
I don't think they like that very much.
We'll do the other one next. First one up, Manchester
All right.
United, man. Go
Okay.
figure that out. Meantime, you come up here. Grab that mic. What's your name? Well done. Here's my question. Now, I have one of these too, and one of those as well. If I were to put mine on, and you suck my dick, is that gay? No, right? It's more masturbatory than anything else, man. It'll be all right, man. All right, did you guys figure it out?
Yeah.
Right on. The position that we're about to see enacted, ladies and gentlemen, center stage over here, is called the Manchester United. Mr. Mewes, take it away.
Let us fuck.
I got a little hard, so that was tremendous, sir. You definitely win a poster
Yeah.
for that. Excellent job. Congrats, man. Someone will take care of you backstage.
Thank you.
And when I mean
Good
take
fuck.
care of you, I don't mean fucking.
All right.
Right on. Okay, let's talk to you first. We're gonna save you for last, of course. Okay, so we have to do the other football team, or else we're gonna get our asses kicked when we leave this place. So we need it's Manchester City, correct? Let's do the position of Manchester City, put it into shitty, make it kind of gritty. Do that.
All right.
Can you handle that?
Yeah?
Why not?
Go talk to Mr. Mewes, man. You guys figure that out. Come on back, Silent Bob. You can see that why this worked, man. It's kind of fun to have a dude that doesn't say anything. I only did it because I didn't want to learn the dialogue, though. Came from a lazy place. Do you make noises when you fuck? Hey, all right, man, did you figure out what we're gonna do?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the position, if I remember correctly, was Manchester City in the shitty, make it gritty. Mr. Mewes, take it away.
Let us fuck!
That was it? I said in the shitty, make it gritty, man. What did you throw, sand at his ass?
Yeah, make it gritty
But
ass.
you're like a two-thrust wonder, man. You were like, bam, done. Did he fuck well or not, ladies and gentlemen? You get a poster, sir. Well done, well done.
All right.
This is gonna be fun.
It looks like I will be fucked by Silent.
Okay, let me see if I
Boy.
have a sexual position written down.
Will you
or if
say-
we should just make one up.
Will you say,
Don't.
The sign on the back of the car said Critters of Hollywood, you dumb fuck!
yes! That's exactly what I Well,
That is a copywritten bit, my friend. Okay, man, I guess there is no other way to do this. There's only one fucking possible title for this sexual position. It should be called Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
oh, yeah.
Now that means
All right.
it goes both ways, so I want to make sure I see some fucking yes. You got to take and give as well. This is gonna be it, man. This is gonna be. We've all wondered what this would look like and shit. Now we're finally gonna see it. The sequel that won't happen. Ladies and gentlemen, the sexual position is entitled Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Mr. Mewes, take it away.
Let us fuck.
That was phenomenal. Give it up for her, man. Not only was that incredibly fun to watch and a little bit erotic, you just helped me write the next movie. Thank you for that. Manchester, did you have a good time this evening? We can't thank you enough for being here. We enjoyed it. We'll be back as soon as we fucking can, man. Thanks for having us. I'd like to give it up for my gracious, beautiful, very interesting co-host, Mr. Jason Mewes. And that is going to be Jay and Silent Bob Get Old for this week. I'm Kevin Smith.
Jason Mewes!
Go get old, everybody. Good night.
Big up to the Jay and Silent Bob, man.
It's too Kevin Smith, or is it fantastic night, mate? Come back to Manchester anytime, you're always welcome.
Part of the show.
All of it. Brilliant. Just general Darren Humphrey and Jason Mewes.
I got to dry hump Jason Mewes. That's definitely Manchester City.
Manchester City.
Certainly enjoyed the guys up for Leonard's Spot. That was really good fun.
There you go.
I learned so much about male anatomy that I never knew before. It's wonderful.
I've tried the show.
Oh, it's fucking amazing, man.
Really good. Jay and Bob.
Oh, fucking come back soon, man. That was absolutely genius.
3 shows is not enough.
That was amazing.
Drop. Oh, got him, bro. Fastest fucking ass in the West.
Those guys just inspiration to loads of people out there.
Yeah.
After kind of so many years, I've only seen them on film. I'm so glad that they came to the UK. That was brilliant.
Bringing the whole family this time around. Whole family in on the act, man.
Hey, look at this right here. Snooze juice.
We're gonna do Let's Fuck.
Okay.
I gotta come up with positions. What do you got?
I have either the Mini Cooper story, I have the London Eye with the knife, I
Yes,
have
dude,
the toilet.
that would be the big. What's toilet?
And I was their toilets, their seats are really thin, and my ass falls in it, and the water's deep, so I was shit, and it sticks to the sides, and it stinks.
Let's do that up front. Don't talk about the water washing balls. You did that once on that Q&A.
Yeah, and then I jerk off in my. I've been jerking off in my sleep.
That's
lately.
beautiful.
You want to be out there to see Harley, right?
Yeah. All right, let's do this, man.
We're headed out right now. Be ready.
It looks beautiful outside, you guys. I almost teared.
It's a good looking place.
Every seat is taken.
Hello. I am Harley Quinn Smith, and I am here with a message from my mother. Please stop feeding my dad bacon buddies. It's really important. You really don't want him getting kicked off another flight. So yeah. Everybody, please welcome my dad and my Uncle Jay.
4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Jay and Silent Bob get old but good. Everybody say yay, cause it's Jay and Silent Bob. Everybody go whoa. They got hope, but they still rock. Jay doesn't shoot up, and that's rough. Bob still gets cake. They should have died. They're still alive. Let's get these motherfuckers out on stage. Welcome to Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. Now here are your hosts, Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith. Holy shit!
Every saga has a middle age, and this is what happens when Jay and Silent Bob get old. I'm Kevin Smith.
Jason Mewes.
Wow. We are in London, England at the very packed to capacity Hammersmith Apollo. Give it up, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight, man. This is cool for me because one of my favorite British stories of all time is not, you know, like fucking Harry Potter or Robin Hood. It actually is a story about Jason Mewes coming to England. We came to England, flew into London Heathrow, it was a couple years back, and we're in line, about to go through passport control. And the guy goes, he's standing next to me, he's looking around, he goes, "This is really cool, man. I've never been to England." And he had. He just fucking didn't remember, man. And I'm sitting there going, "What do you mean you've never been to England?" He's like, "Never been here." I was like, "Yeah, dude, you came here during Dogma." And he was like, "Did I?" It's pretty clean, you know? And that was the same fucking trip where we got right to the passport control. And the guy was just like, "What's your nationality?" And Mewes was like, "I'm Polish." And the guy was like, "Really?" And I'm standing behind him going, "You're not Polish." And the guy goes, "What do you mean Polish?" He's like, "You sound like you're from America." He's like, "You just flew in from America." He's like, "Yeah, I'm from America, but I'm Polish." And I pulled him aside. I'm like, "Dude, they're not asking like, what was your dad? They're asking where you fucking came from." I've been here many, many times, but I was thinking about when we were coming out here, what was my first, like rather than when was the first time I was here, because I know I came here for Clerks, what was my first kind of cognizance of London, England, of a place that wasn't Highlands, New Jersey? I was thinking about it. We had a record when I was a kid, Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, and one of the songs in the record is Portobello Road. They sang about the street in England and London where you could get shit, weird shit. Like, you know, it was a Disney movie, so it wasn't like heroin and pussy on Portobello Road. No. It was more like, you know, anything you want on Portobello Road, because it was G-rated.
Anything
That's the
means...
thing, when you're a fucking dirty G-rated kid like me, I'm like, anything? Anal? You know? But that was also like a movie. It was a wicked-ass fucking movie, dude. It was about a witch who fights fucking Nazis. That's so metal, it's crazy, man. I was like, fucking England's metal. I was 5 years old. I understood it then.
No, wait, though. Is Jessica Fletcher in Bed Knobs and Broomsticks? Bed Knob and Broomsticks?
In a way.
Is she not?
It's Angela Lansbury.
Angela
Played
Lansbury,
Jessica
yes.
Fletcher. Yeah.
So she was solving crimes on Anywhere Street.
Even back then. Back then, she was trying to solve the crime of like, can I get a black magic book so I could defeat the Nazis?
Oh, see?
That's what she wanted. Like the Nazis were invading Britain. It takes place during World War II, and she's trying to use this book of witchcraft or these spells. She went to this witch school, correspondence school, to try to figure out how to fucking fight off the Nazi invasion. So at the end, spoilers of a 40, 50-year-old movie. And by the end of the flick, she's not a very good magician and shit. The spells, it came from a correspondence class where the dude was just pulling shit out of an old book he found, which turned out to be a real fucking book and shit. And there was a true Isle of Nabumbu where they get on the bed and they fucking, the whole story. You never saw Bed Knobs and fucking Broomsticks?
Wait,
we got a show to do, and I'm like, and then this happened and this happened. But there are these kids who are British orphans in World War II. And, parents are all fighting, or some people are killed in the bombings and shit. And so the kids wind up, they have to put them in houses, foster care and stuff like that. This witch takes these foster kids, and she doesn't want to, but the government's like, you gotta fucking take them. She's like, all right. But then the kid sees that she's a witch, knows she can do magic, and so they're like, boy, we're gonna tell everyone unless you start doing fucking tricks for us. And she starts shooting ping pongs out her pussy.
Okay.
This dude was like, what? Eventually, her and the kids team up. Like, the kids are kind of precocious and shit. The kid is talking to Angela Lansbury. And he's like, we don't go for a lot of the frillies. Travel light, that's us. Because they're fucking orphans and shit. And then you can't help but travel life. It was, rather than say, our parents are dead. They went with something a little more fun, I guess. Travel light, that's us. We have no parents. We're very light and sad. Kind of jerking off to this story, are you?
And then what?
You're like, I love human misery, man. All right, so to make a deal with the kids, she says, look, I'll give you a magic fucking totem, an artifact or something like that. And she takes this bed knob that the kid had literally stolen from a bed in the house. She's like, I need a magical object. He's like, hey, take me knob. And it's not even his.
Is it a nice knob?
It's true. I'm sitting there watching going, here it comes. He's taking his knob out.
It's like, take me knob.
And and she never stops to go like, hey man, you took this off my bed. This is my knob. If anything, take my knob, motherfucker. So he gives her the knob and she gives a little spell or something like that. And that gives it magical properties. And they get on the bed and she could say Triguna, Mocoides, Trichorum, Satis D. And the bed heats up and shit vibrates and whatnot. Clothes start coming off, pussies get rough. And then magically it's going through dimensions and shit. And the music's like da 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 da. None of the kids are terrified. They're all just like, this is amazing. Me, I would have been like, get me the fuck off! Whose dick do I gotta suck to make this stop? And in the book, they have to go after the Star of Astaroth. This is magical property, totem and shit. And it's worn by the king of the Isle of Nabumbu, who is a lion. Isn't that badass? So as you're a kid, you're watching this movie. It's all people and fucking from a different place. And they're fun to watch because they have like these accents you'd never heard as a kid. So they are kind of cartoonish in and of themselves. And then they take you into a cartoonish world. They actually take live action and blend it with 2D. They get on the bed, they go to the Isle of Nabumbu, and they fucking go underwater and shit. And they're amongst the fish, and then they get fished out by this huge bear. And everyone is a cartoon. And suddenly they're interacting with these cartoon animals that run the Isle of Nabumbu, and they play fucking football against them and shit like that. And the whole time they're just plotting to take the fucking king's star that he wears around his neck, which is so fucked up. It's just like, let's bring children to this land where we might have to commit regicide to steal this magical totem to stop a war in our world. But it's like we're creating war in their peaceful world of cartoon animals, but fuck them, Hitler's worse. So, you know. And then they wind up going back to where she lives, the village and whatnot. And the Nazis are invading by sea, and it's quietly in the night. Nobody fucking seems to know except this little town. And she animates with the spell, with Triguna, Mocoides, Tricorium, Satis. She animates all the armor in the museum, all the old military armor, like fucking King Arthur type armor and fucking World War I armor. Every piece of armor, like horses and shit armor and soldiers and suits of armor, animates it, and it all comes to life and starts marching back at the fucking Germans, who are like, mein Gott, and they run to the sea. Because they're like, holy shit, America's well, fucking America, listen to me. England is full of fucking ghosts, man. Ghosts that fight wars and shit. And they scare them off. And it's a wonderful story. It's not fucking true at all. You're looking at me. He's looking at me puzzled, like, did that happen? Like, is that how the war ended?
I have to watch it, though.
Which one?
Jessica Fletcher. It's like Murder, She Wrote meets, yeah.
Are you talking about fucking bed knobs and broomsticks?
Yeah.
Okay, then the first step to watching it is not calling it Jessica Fletcher.
All right, Angela Lansbury.
This is going to be confusing for anybody if you're like, I want to see the Jessica Fletcher story. And they're like, okay, here's Murder, She Wrote. You know? And you're like, no, that's not it. I want to see the one where she fights Nazis.
On a bed, though. Why do you think they picked a bed?
Why the bed?
Yeah, why the bed?
'Cause
It's
it
a little
captures your
creepy to me, though. She's bringing two little kids on a bed, two little orphans and shit. She's like, get on my bed. Right? It's,
I gotta be honest with you, I have one of the filthiest minds on the planet. That never occurred to me, man. In 41 years, it never occurred to me. It always, like, it's a magical time. You just took it someplace dirty where some fucking old British woman is like, get on the bed. Take your knickers off and get on the bed. We're going to the Isle of Nabumbu.
It could have been a sofa or something.
Do you remember coming here when you were first time? Other than fucking being at the airport?
Yeah. I didn't really remember being here, but I remember after you told me, I'm like, I was here. And I had tried to have sex with some women from there, and they weren't really into me.
Maybe that's why you just blocked the country from your memory. You're like, England's that place where I couldn't get laid.
I remember trying it. We went out a couple times, and I remember trying, like, chatting with girls, and they would just ignore me. But
they didn't talk to you. They weren't like, I fucking see through you.
They weren't really into it. No, they weren't into it. So, and I thought it'd be cool. I thought I'd be able to get to go home and be like, and I'm sort of filthy where I'm like, all right, if I'm having sex with someone with an accent, and we're in the middle of it, they're gonna say some cool shit with an accent. That shit would be sexy to me, you know? I'd be like, half, 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 and they'd be like, oi, 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 oi.
Are you fucking an Orthodox Jew, or?
All right, dude. More like this then, ready? Half, half, and they'd be like, all right then, all right then, all right then.
I want to be there while you're fucking somebody who's like, all right then. All right then. Are you done, governor? No? All right then.
That's a picture, though, but maybe even a little more, like some more. See, I can't really.
You've never
do
had
the
sex
accent.
with a British. Have you ever had sex with a person with an accent at all?
No, no, no. No, they're easy.
Canadians
Get it
count.
over with.
One accent, irritation. Canadians count. Did you ever have sex with a Canadian? They have a funny accent, or
Well,
at least
I have,
different.
but not really, because it's just like, hey, what's this about? What's this about? What's this all about? All right then.
What was adorable about that is the whole audience watched you think for 5 seconds.
I was trying to.
It was awesome. You got to see a joke be born. He set it up. He didn't know where it was going. He was like, when you fuck a Canadian girl, it's like this. What is it like? I didn't have the rest of this plan. What is it? Oh yeah, a boot. But for you, probably no time. It just went right by. But the rest of us were like, what happened?
You're like, show's over. I'm like, I was joking.
You just stepped out for a moment in time. That was neat. We got to see the inner workings of your mind, like literally on display.
I was trying to think of their accent. I mean, it's.
It would be like A.
But they say something and they're like, A, right? So.
How's it going, eh? How's it going, eh?
Yeah.
But that's not something.
A little deeper, eh? A little deeper, eh? Is it in yet, eh? Hey, come on, eh? What's this about? And then so this, I would like never an accent though, and the girls.
It's crazy. I know the feeling though. It's weird. Like I'm very happily married and shit, but I'm not gonna say there's this unfinished part of me, but there is a part of you that's just like. No, I can't because she's here. There's always a part of you that's just like, wow, I never had sex with someone with a different accent or something. Like every once in a while, if you're over here, you watch porn, and the British-made porn, they're literally talking like in a different language. You're like, that's so much more exciting. And they're saying the same shit, like, oh God. But their God seems more powerful than our God.
Right? Or even a different, like it's in Spanish or anything, a different language. If they're like, oh, fucking, because I don't know any other.
How many years of Spanish did you take, man?
Well, you know, oh, maricón, or something, you know.
You're like, oh, it could be like Spanish, and instead you reach for like Elvish.
That would be awesome too, right? Like fucking.
What, fucking an elf?
Like Liv Tyler, yeah. Like what'd she say when to make the water come? If she spoke Elvish, Elfish, the fucking from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Remember she made that water come and she was like on the horse. He's like, hold on, Frodo, hold on, and they were chasing her.
I want to see your version of Lord of the Rings, man. There's chicks with magic words making the water come and whatnot.
You don't remember that when they?
No, I remember him being on a bird.
When Frodo was all like green and shit, and he was like foaming out the mouth, and she was fucking like twicking his fucking cock and shit, like wake up, Frodo. That's my version. She didn't really. She's like, come on, Frodo, wake up, wake up. But no, she has him on the horse, and I forget the fucking 4 horsemen are chasing her.
Yeah.
And she's like this, going, hold on.
Who is this? Are you talking about Liv Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they get across this big river, and then she can make the water come, and the water looks like horses, and knocks the 4 horsemen over. The guys in the black cloaks.
Okay.
And she spoke some like sexy.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is, I got real lost. What you're saying is, You told me all that just to express how much you'd like to fuck an elf.
Yes.
Because she has a funny accent when she makes the magic words that make the water turn into
Yeah,
horse.
do you remember the language they spoke?
Yeah, Elvish.
Can you do it?
No, I can barely remember the scene from the movie, man. Unless I don't think it's quite the way you put it.
You don't remember when she took Frodo down and she started jerking him off and shit and playing with his nuts?
If I'd seen that, that would be my favorite movie. I'd still be talking about the movie to this day.
So I tried, and there was no having it here. So there's no accents. Never had it. Had
Why don't
sex
you just
with
ask your
Canadian.
lady to rock a British accent?
If she could, that would be awesome.
Wouldn't it?
It really would. But I've tried.
I've asked my lady. I was like, "Can you do a British accent?" She's like, "Can you be thin?" I was like, "Fair enough. Let's just fuck."
I'm gonna have to ask her. I'm gonna see if she.
I like how you get ideas during the show, man. Like,
Yeah,
we're
but
trying to
ask
be
her.
entertaining. You're like, I should ask my wife to do a British
Yeah,
accent.
she could take some classes and shit'll be worth it.
She's
Yeah.
gonna take
Just for her to be
classes.
like, oh fuck, you fucking stupid muppet. Oh fuck you, you fucking mopsy. Hey mopsy, you fucking like this? And I'm like, ah! That would be awesome.
I think it's strange that you wanted her to curse you in British.
Whatever it is, she could say anything as long as it sounded like. The accent's awesome.
All right, so you couldn't get any fucking British chicks.
Didn't happen, but we were here with a friend, and I won't say her name, but we had been hanging out for a bit, and we kept sharing hotel rooms. And while we were here, she got a little tipsy one night. We were laying in bed, and
It
we
was
lay.
while you were over to London.
Yes, we all came together, a bunch of us, and we were laying in bed. We used to share the rooms and lay in bed all the time, and every once in a while, you know, there'd be a little ass pushing and stuff, but not too much. We'd be just sleeping, and I didn't really want to have sex with her because there's the one like female friend that I didn't have sex with. It seems like I always had sex, and I didn't think it was gonna happen. When it finally did happen, it was nice because, you know, we're getting into it and stuff, but it was a little uncomfortable because I'm like looking at her in the face and we're doing it. I'm like, you know.
Wait, it's uncomfortable because you're looking at her in the face?
No,
I really wanted to see the back of her fucking head, man.
No, I'm saying.
Then I don't have to deal with emotion.
Well, I'm saying because we were buddies, and I didn't think we should have sex, so I'm looking, and I was doing my thing. I like to do, for some reason, I like to go half, whole. Because I just feel like that's my rhythm right
That's
there.
your move, but you don't say it out loud, though.
Well, I have. For some reason, I went. I don't notice
You're
that
like
I
one
do.
of those people that counts out loud, you know?
Yeah, it's like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But I do. I wind up saying it out loud. Matter of fact, and this is another story. Before we came here, I was like, "Come on, I want to do. We're gonna do a show, and maybe we can do it before my wife." So we had sex, and it's funny because out here, she's telling me she had said this earlier too, a couple days ago. We're layering up. She has like pants underneath her pants and like 3 pairs of socks on, literally. And she's like, "Man, it would be a bummer living here and if you want to get into it and have quick sex, because you have to take off so many layers of clothes." So she's like, "All right, I'll do this." And then she pulls her pants down to here, and she's like this. And I'm like, no, sit up on the desk. Like, turn around and sit and go like this. And she's like, "No, I don't want to take off all my clothes. There's too many layers." So I tried to push it down a little bit more, but then I was like, half, whole. And for some reason, I think.
You sure you're wearing like, oi,
I should have. Oi, mate. Oi, mate. Oi. Captain America. But I wind up saying it out loud, and she was like, "Why are you saying half whole?" Fool?
You said it out loud to her?
Well, yeah, because I was thinking of. I think about it. It's my move. Not all the time, because at the end, then I'm like, especially because she's like, "All right, come on, we have to leave in like 5 minutes. Hurry up." So then I'm like. Anyway.
And what, you don't say it real fast? Like,
Oh, that would be awesome. No, it would be like, and then I get all winded and shit because I smoke too many cigarettes. And I'm like, But
fucking you must be like fucking a Star Wars movie, man. Because it's just a series of alien noises and weird sounds and fucking theme songs and.
I told you, every once in a while I'll get like real excited with my wife, and afterwards she'll be like, you know, for that one slight moment, man, you were like a little high school teenager. It's like, let me look you up and down till you say, and then I go, yeah. And I get all excited and shit, and I'm not paying attention, and my dick slips out, and it slams her in the bung piece, and she's like, ow! And she's like, calm down. I'm like, oh, fuck. That's like when we don't have sex for a couple weeks and shit. I just get really excited and shit. I get way too into it, so. But
I never do shit like that. It's just when I try to keep it together until I come, and then I just cry because I'm so grateful.
Oh, thank you.
You're such a pretty lady. Thank you for doing that to me. I'm with your puss.
Have you ever gotten choked up when you're having sex? Like you've really gotten like all...
Yeah, I did have one. Yeah,
right?
Once or twice.
I have
had
once.
a very emotional... Did you?
Yeah, it was like, all, you know, it gets all into it, and you're just like, oh, God, you're beautiful. I love you.
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't when you... Yeah.
Oh, God, you're awesome. I fucking...
What is that?
I'm just kidding. I was saying that's
is that
what
you
I'm
eating
that's
pussy
me
and
eating
crying?
Pussy. Yeah,
I don't think any woman wants that, dude.
No, why not?
No woman wants to look down between her legs and see a guy who's like.
Why not?
I don't know. That'd be terrifying to me, man. If I looked down and saw a chick crying in my lap, I'm like, she's gonna fucking bite it off, man. She's just decided how much she hates all men. I'm gonna pay the price.
Why are you doing it? No, why? I don't think
this is where you pee.
It's the same. It's like the same thing if you're making love and stuff, and then you're eating. You're like, I love your pussy. What? Oh my God! Yeah. So me and
you
my
made
friend.
yourself laugh, man. That was cute.
Me and my friend had sex, and it was a little.
Your friend who's a girl. I don't want him thinking it's me. Because you're talking in code. You're like, me and my friend had sex.
Well, you know, he was pushing against me a little bit with his ass. No, me and my lady friend.
Yeah.
We were having sex, and it was nice, but again, at the same time, it was like, I was a little hesitant still, even while I was like, have, friend, whole friend. Then I was like, oh, this is nice. And then I remember we were getting into it, and all of a sudden I was like, and then I was like, what the fuck? And it was me, and I was like looking at her again, like thinking like, oh shit, did she notice I just farted? And then I was like, have. But her face just went, oi. And then we kept going, and I was like, all right, no big deal. That was the good moment. Right there was the moment where I'm like, this is
That's
good
when
that
you started crying? You're like, I just farted, you didn't care.
No, this is when I was like, this is good that we're such good friends, because I could fart, I could probably shit right now, and she'd be like, we're boots all right, bud, because you know, like when I'm sleeping with a girl for the first time and shit, like I just meet her and it's like a couple days into the
yeah,
date.
you never want to shit while you're fucking that girl.
No. Well,
the
no.
other girl, I guess it's fine to do with, man.
No, but I'm on my best behavior. I'm like, you don't want to fart and shit. I'll be holding my farts into my stomach starts hurting, and I'm like, yeah. Listening to her be like, yeah, and so my favorite color is blue, and you know, I have like 4 best friends, and they're all there. My family's from, and I'm like, oh, you know that, you know what I'm saying? You hold the fart.
You always have to fart on a first date like that?
Back in the day, all the time, I'd have to
get
fart.
nervous or something?
I'd have to fart and shit. But no, because back in the day, it was usually I'd go out and meet someone and go out with them, and we'd go to the bar and have drinks and shit. And hard alcohol used to make me have to shit or fart all the time, especially beer. If I was slamming a lot of beer, I'd get all gassy, and I'd be like, ugh, you know, and I'd be burping and farting. So it was always me trying to hold in my burps, and then it would bubble down and shit, and then I'd have to fart, and I'd be like, oh, hold on a sec, you know, and they'd be like doing something, I'd go. I'm like, oh, what's up? So what do you want to do now? You want to go down the street here? And like make sure I go away, but the worst.
Don't you think it's a little more tension getting if you do little circles around the room like that?
If it's the right place and I can sort of try to get away with it, but anyway, so we keep going. We're still having sex and half home, half home, and then all of a sudden I hear, and I was like, that wasn't me this time, and then all of a sudden she's like, oops. And I was like, all right, I can't really say anything. I farted, she's farting. It's all good, man. We're farting together and shit, right? So then we go a little more, and I get more excited, and I'm like, and there was like, and I was like, oh shit, and then I was just like, fuck it, and then I came. It was all done, and then like it was a little uncomfortable because again we were buddies, and then it was the whole like, oh, this ain't gonna mess things up, right? And I was like, no. It's fine. But then, so again, we're here together and we're staying in the same room. So the next night, we're laying in bed. So we start fooling around, and this time I'm like, fuck it. For some reason, I'm like, I want to eat her puss. I wanted to eat her puss.
Okay.
And so she's playing with my PP and shit, my penis. She's playing with my wiener.
It's just like everything else, you feel very free to use like vulgar terms, and then you get to fucking your dick, and you're like, she's playing with my pee-pee. And like your edge just falls off a cliff, man. Just call it your dick, your cock, something like that. Not your pee-pee.
My pee-pee.
No, dude.
My dick.
Yeah,
so my dick, she's playing with my dick. My fucking hard dick. Right? She's jerking it off.
You don't have to lean on it. Just don't fucking say pee-pee.
My cock. And then so I was, like I said, I wanted to eat her puss. And then she grabs me and pulls me around. And I'm on top of her. And for some reason now we're in a 69. So I had to show, not that you guys don't know what a 69 is. But, so I'm here. And you know, we're doing this, and I'm eating the puss, and she's sucking it, and it was already a little weird. And I looked down for a second, I laughed a little bit, because I could see my fucking nuts, right? my nuts are like hanging over her nose and shit. And I'm sitting there, and I almost start half holding her, but then I realize I'm gonna choke her. But then all of a sudden, she's like, and I'm like, wait, I gotta do this here again, sorry. So, she's like this, and I'm eating, she's like, and I'm like, huh? She's like, and I remember my weight's on her at this point, and then all of a sudden I lean up, and my nuts come off her nose, and she goes, you're not gonna fart while I'm down here, right? And I'm like,
dude, not even Streep would play both parts like you just did.
So yeah, that was my first experience here. And see, I smoke too much. I'm out of breath. I'm out of breath from fake fucking.
My first experience in London has nothing to do with London.
Oh, okay, so when I was doing that, I looked out and I saw a fucking Big Ben.
I stand corrected.
Now you're gonna have to see that. Even fake fucking, I get out of breath.
Yeah. That's more than I ever do. What you just pretended to do, I was like, ooh, that looks hard.
I was gonna ask you to join me to play the other part. How awesome would that be?
I would lay down, because that's the easy part, man.
Wait, you'd let me get over top of you?
Yeah. For the sake of show? Hypothetical and theoretical. Yeah, but you're wearing clothes and shit, right? You're not naked?
Well, either way. I mean,
well, no, because then I have two very different answers.
All right, wait. So what if I had a cock sock and my nuts were in it? on your nose. So I'm naked just for the show. I'm like, look, we really got a show.
Like that's our big closer. We're like, ladies and gentlemen, you've never seen anything like this before. Direct your attention to the center stage where a fat man lies on the ground.
And then my nuts did hang. What if you went full out and you just let me put my nuts right on your nose?
How big is the venue?
30,000 people.
So like Super Bowl?
Yeah, they're just,
like if we were the halftime show, they're like, ladies and gentlemen, Madonna's just way too expensive and big, and you know, we've done Prince. This year we're going a little different. Y'all remember Jay and Silent Bob? The little one's gonna put his nuts on the fat one's face. Without further ado, did you go anywhere since you've been here? You've been here a few days longer than me. You got here way earlier than I got here.
We did. We were been here about 5 days or so, and I seen some stuff. We went on the boat ride through the fucking canal, and then we went on the London Eye. Had a little experience there. I found out, I didn't know. So we get on, and all right. So every time I sort of try to tell, like, not a fib, but I try to just avoid things to try to get around it. And I had this keychain thing on my hip. And when we got to the London Eye, I didn't see the scanner at first. Mm-hmm. The guy had like a full-on like, wah, wah, wah. And he's like, do you have anything sharp on you? And he was checking my bag and stuff. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just give it to him and I'll get away. So I give it to him and we start walking up. And all of a sudden they're like, sir, sir, sir. And I'm like, but they had the cool accent. It wasn't so like, sir, sir. They're like, oi, oi, oi. And I was like, who's fucking? Who's fucking? But they were like, oi. And then I was like looking around, I was like, kept walking, and then like they run up and they're like, sir, come here. And like they brought us in, and I'm like, oh fuck, what did I do, man? What now? Because every time not every time, but a lot of times when we're flying and stuff, there's always, I can't help but I can't hold my tongue a lot. So if like someone doesn't move if someone puts like a little bag up, like this, let's say they put this up in the top, they're like, boop, and it's like this little towel bag or whatever, and then I have this big luggage, and I'm like, oh, sir, can you move this from the top, like over a little bit, or put it by your feet, because I have this big bag and there's no room, and this dude was
Something tells me this stopped being a hypothetical story. Let's say there's a guy that does this thing that I'm being real specific about. This literally happened.
Yeah, this happened. And so just to give you an example, so the guy wouldn't move the bag. I'm like, listen, man, can you move this and put it by your feet? He's like, why? I'm like, well, because I have this big bag and this thing's small, you know, and it could fit under your feet or whatever. He's like, why should I be inconvenienced and not be able to have leg room and stuff? I'm like, dude, this won't take up leg room, man. It's like small, and it says in the beginning of the announcements that you should put your larger bags on top and your smaller ones here so that everyone can fit their stuff. And he's like, no, I'm not moving it. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, come on, man. Like, why not? Like, why can't you just move that small thing? He's like, I'm not moving. I'm not going to be uncomfortable. And I'm like, you know what? You're a fucking piece of shit. And he was just like, and then all of a sudden the fucking stewardess comes up and she goes, sir, you don't have to be cursing like that. I'm like, yeah, but he won't move his bag and stuff. And Jordan's sitting there embarrassed, and she's like, just let it go, we can find something else. I'm like, no, like that really irks me that this dude won't move that little bag when it says it on the video in the beginning. And the woman's like, I'll just help you. And I was like, see you later, piece of shit. And so
you're like an air vigilante, man. You're like Batman of the skies and shit, except you don't beat people up, you just curse at them. This is not just, you're a piece of shit. And then they got to think about it for a few hours on the plane, man.
I really was hoping, because again, maybe I was wrong for calling him a piece of shit, but I wanted him to think like, look, dude, all you had to do is move that small ass bag.
That's how you gotta end it, dude. That's your thing now. Because they don't know how to deal with that. You can't, like, if you get fucking pushy with somebody, they know what to do. They rush to the air marshal comes out and shit like that. But when you hurl, you're a piece of shit at somebody, they gotta live with that, man. There's nothing, they can't be like, well, he fucking called me a piece of shit. The air flight attendants are like,
the fire marshal's like, whatever. right?
Fire marshal?
I mean, the.
Now he's on the plane as
No,
well?
he's on too.
You're like the fucking fire marshal and SpongeBob and fucking Batman.
But anyway, so this was sort of that same situation. They pulled us over, and then they're like, "Sir, this knife here, we need your passport." And I'm like, "What? Why? Why do you need my passport?" And they're like, "Well, because this is a lock knife." And I'm like, "Well, what? Yeah, but it's like really a tool. There's a screwdriver and a thing, and there's a knife on it, but it's it's not a weapon." They're like, "No, sir, lock knives are illegal here in London."
Have you ever heard that expression, lock knife?
Yeah. No, but. Well, I know that there's a lock knife. I mean, I've heard there's lock knife. The knives that lock, they go snap, and then you gotta like press a button to unlock them and stuff.
I guess I'm not familiar with the term because I don't,
you don't carry knives.
fucking knives. Like most of the civilized world, man. Yeah, I've never had to deal with a term
but
like
it's a
lock
tool.
knife.
There's like the Gerber tool, like they have screwdrivers and can openers and fucking little vibrators on them and shit. I have a little tool that has a spoon, a fork, and a vibrator. So I eat cereal and stick a vibrator in my ass. Eat cereal. No, but they have these tools that have all these things, and that's sort of what mine was, but with just a few tools and a knife that snapped open and locked. But I had no idea that they're illegal here. But I'm arguing with them, and of course, like, "Sir, it's okay. Like, we just need your information because you have a lock knife and it's illegal." I'm like, yeah, but why do you need my passport? Is this gonna flag me? And they're like, "Sir, we're gonna have to call the cops if you don't give us your passport and if you don't stop." And I'm like, "No, but I have my license, but why do you need the thing?" And they were just like, "Look, just stop." And then again, Jordan started getting upset with me. Luckily she's always there to be like, "Look, like, shut up or you're gonna get arrested." And not that I think that I'm gonna take it as far as they're gonna be like, "We're calling the cops right now if you don't stop." And I'm like, "Fuck you." But, I don't know why. I just want sort of to know exactly why they want to write down my information especially because when I thought maybe next time I come here and I go, I'm like, "Hey man, I'm here to visit and I love this place. Oi, oi, oi." And they're just like, "Freeze."
I think they'd be saying freeze because you're like, "Oi, oi, oi." They're like, "We don't need any more of you in the country. Get the fuck out." You were afraid that like you'd hand them a passport, they'd mark you for life, you'd come back, and they'd be like, "You can't come to England anymore."
So yeah, and then I was like, "You know what? Then I don't want to go on the ride. I don't want to go on the London Eye. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm leaving." And they're like,
and
"No."
I'm sure the guy was like, "Oh, please, sir, ride the London Eye."
I was like, "Oi, oi, oi."
I'm sure that dude was just like, "Thank God, there goes another bitchy American."
No, they wouldn't let me leave. They're like, "No, you can't leave."
Oh, you just want to fuck off? And they're like, "No, now you're trapped in the London
and they're
Eye."
like, and they're like, "You're not getting your knife." And I'm like, "All right, I don't want the knife, but I want to leave now." And they're like, "No, we need your information. We'll call the cops." And then finally, this other woman came over. She's like, "Look, just write down whatever. It doesn't matter. They just need it because luckily you don't know that lock knives are legal. But I guess if I lived here and I knew like that I had an address here that they would arrest me. I guess they call the cops, but they kept the knife and they gotta bring it to the police station and they have record of it, taking it down and stuff. And the bummer part of it is because after all the arguing, I had my camera and I wanted to go. The whole reason I wanted to go on the Eye is because I'm like, ooh, when I'm at the top, I'll be able to take pictures of fucking Big Ben and all this different the cool view there. But when we got on the ride finally, it starts moving, all slow. By the time I got to the top, it was dark. And then when I was trying to take pictures, it was just flashing me in the face. So it didn't help. So there.
What a magical experience you had.
It was. And then I want to go back to see it during the day, but this time I will not bring knife.
You don't need any weapons, man. You're safe. You don't need to defend yourself against anything. Every once in a while, you do get attacked, though. Somebody punch you in a bar or something like that and shit like that.
I do,
but that's not a reason that you really don't want a knife in that situation.
Well, that's what I thought. It's funny because I think when I've had knives, I'm like, well, I have this knife. If someone attacks me in the alley, man, I got this knife to protect myself. But then I realized that even if I was getting attacked, I mean, unless I was really getting hurt and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna pass out and they're gonna kill me or whatever then, but I don't even know if I could actually stab someone. Or I would do, it would be too, you're right, it's like almost stupid to have the knife on you because you'd be like,
the moment of truth
"Come
would
on!"
come and you wouldn't even be able to use it. You could brandish it an awful lot, but yeah.
Right?
Which I'm sure would terrify anybody.
See, but then I'd get scared and I'd throw it on accident, like it would slip out of my hand, and then in my luck, they'd be like, they'd have the knife and it would work against me, right? So maybe I shouldn't carry a knife anymore. Maybe I should just carry.
For that reason alone, stop carrying a knife.
All right, I'm never gonna fucking carry.
Do you have any other London adventures other than that fucking knife?
I do. I have my second trip here. Second time I was here. There's been a few adventures, but the second time I had come here, not this week, but the first time I told you the little sex. The second time I had a little luck, right? But the friend wasn't here, and we had done a little. We had done like some man on the street, and I was like, "Hey, would you use some of these words? Would this work on you?" Because I have some silly come-ons. I could be like, "Yo, let me get up in those guts."
Yeah.
Oh, let me hear that.
Is
accent.
that one of them? Just oh.
Yeah, that's
a move that works. If you just walked up to somebody, you're like, oh.
No, there's different things, but again, I don't think any of them work necessarily. Let me get up in them guts is sort of filthy. I think it's more of a fun, if you're flirting with a girl and you guys are talking all night and she's like, "Let's fuck," and then I'm like, "Yo, let me get up in those guts."
Right.
And then she's like, okay. So we had done that, and we had stopped a bunch of people and asked them different questions, a bunch of girls. And one of the girls, she's like, "Well, that would work on me." So she pretty much hinted around that she was down to hang out and get busy, maybe do some naughty business. So I remember that whole day I was getting all excited and shit that knew that later on that night I was gonna have some action, and thought maybe I'd even get to hear the accent, right? I thought maybe like, "Oh, all right then. Right. That person, ooh."
Right.
So that's the problem. I remember that happened a couple times to me that I knew that I was somewhere and later on I was gonna have some sex, and I thought about it, so I'm like walking around with a heart on. Not maybe a full heart on. I remember playing basketball, because I play basketball every once in a while. I was playing basketball and I had like those gym shorts on that are real baggy, and I remember trying to bounce the ball, and my nuts and my cock were jumping up and down because it was half full of blood, ready to go, because I was thinking about
You must really like basketball, man.
No, it was because I knew later on, I was just waiting. I was like, okay, another hour. So later on I got excited, and it was building up, and so I got to hang out. We hung out and we went and grabbed some food, and we were bullshitting. And time we went to the hotel, where I was staying, I was so excited. We started fooling around. We get her naked, and we start fooling around, and I give her half, whole, half, and probably got another half, and I came. So not only did it, because the buildup of being so excited, waiting all night, I didn't even get to hear any accent, because she didn't even get to the point, I would say, to get anything out. You know what I'm saying?
She couldn't get to "Oh God" because you were done before "Oh" came out.
Exactly. It really was. It was like fooling around, little foreplay, and then we started getting busy, and it was like half, whole, half, and then
Dunzo.
And my eye twitches, when it's built up. Did that ever happen to you?
What do you mean?
You ever have sex and you come and your fucking eye twitches a little bit, the muscle, you have a
No, but to be fair, I don't do nearly the gymnastics that you do in the bedroom. I just fucking lay there and let shit happen to me, so I barely break a sweat, except I sweat when I fucking breathe. So even if I'm not doing the fucking, I still wind up being wet, but there's no strain, certainly not enough to make my eye twitch.
No, you have to at least be doing stuff like this, right? I understand you always say that you just lay there, but I would think that you at least do stuff like this, right?
Oh God, no. And I certainly don't offer thumbs up, no. No, that's too, like, that looks too aerobic to me. Like, your shoulders are off the ground. Like, that's too much strain.
So you think it's more that, do you literally do this?
Yeah, but I don't look away. Yeah, I'm generally looking at her and stuff, but no, that's straining. I'd have to stretch the old neck, man. She's very limber. She comes down and stuff. Yeah. And that's why it rocks for me, man. It doesn't rock for her at all, but it rocks for me because I'm very comfortable.
How about the toes? See, if my eye doesn't twitch, then sometimes it's like this. If I'm on my back, my toes curl and I go like this.
Maybe that's why you keep farting during sex. You've always got that Jimmy leg working on.
One more time. I'm gonna fall. I was waiting to slip. Let me tell you a story real quick, because that reminds me, sorry. I was staying at this girl's house, and it was when I was really bad in the drugs, and I had bought a bunch of crack, a bunch of heroin and stuff, and I had like a crack pipe, and she threw me out because she's like, you spent our money on crack. and anyway, so she threw me out, so I'm all like fucked up.
What a bitch, man.
No, I deserved to be thrown out, but I had nowhere to go. I had no money because I just spent like our last $60. But I remember like walking and being and like smoking and shit and looking around. But then I got to the
What are
main
you
street.
smoking while you look around? Just cigarettes?
No, that was crack.
You're smoking crack? You're walking around smoking crack?
Yeah, again, I was a fool. Like I was out of my head. because I had bought it, smoked it. She came home and like saw me and was like so mad and like threw me out. But when you do that, like you start to come down, cold crack, you start to come down and you want to do more after like, 3 minutes.
Right.
So like I was leaving and I was like, I gotta find a place to go because I have all this stuff and now I'm coming down, I need to do more. So then like I'm like hiding. So I don't know if someone saw me and called the cops, but I get to the corner and there's the sort of main road. And I get to go to the crosswalk and I look and the cop's coming. So I'm like, I step back. And I start walking, all of a sudden I hear, and then I hear the door open, and he's like, excuse me, sir. And I just kept walking, like, maybe he won't come and grab me. And he's like, excuse me, sir. He's like, hey. And then I can hear him coming up behind me, so I stop, and say it was you, and he starts coming towards me. And I don't know what to do. I look, and there's a fence. And I swear, man, I've never jumped shit in my life so good. It was like this high, and it was like, poof, I swear I almost like jumped over the fence, like Captain America in the movie when he jumps that first time over like the car. That was me.
Fucking cracked in America and shit.
Cracked in America.
I have my own super soldier serum.
And I swear I jumped that, and I remember running as fast and I must have ran forever, but it got to the point where I was like, I remember running, I was just like, it really got to where my whole body was so light because there's no oxygen and numb yet, but like...
I would imagine the crack might have something to do with it as well. Most people that run that fast and shit, they're just dealing with like, their own body physicality and whatnot. You've added the extra element of crack, which I imagine could make you run faster, no?
Cracked in America.
Yeah. Did it give you speed?
No,
but... Is it like Red Bull? It gives you wings.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say... but it was like the fear of getting in trouble was just like, I was cracked in America. I'm telling you, I was hopping fences.
I'm glad you heard that term now that you're clean, because you seem to like it so much that I think if I told you back then, oh, you're cracked in America, you'd have been, I am cracked in America, aren't I?
And I would have got a suit and shit, and I would have came over and I'd be like, hello, Kevin, I'm cracked in America. What are you doing? Scaling the side of your building. I'm like, see? It was crazy though, man. Luckily, I swear, I got really lucky many times, like things like that when I was in, way out there and stuff. Things like that would happen, and thank goodness I didn't get in trouble because, again, I could have been really in trouble and been put away for a while because I already had got busted with the deployed airbag. And I had like 4 years probation. And so I violated and then I got in trouble again. So yeah, my point is if I had gotten in trouble there, like I would have really gotten in trouble. And there was many situations like that But
I can see
for some
whereas
reason,
that would be a lifestyle that's really attractive. Having to outrun the cops, fucking being kicked out for fucking smoking crack and shit like that. But mercifully, that's been a long time since that happened. How long you've been clean and sober at this point?
it's 691 days.
Wow.
Oh, sweet. Thank you.
That is impressive as fuck. We're closing in on 2 years. It's going to be in a little while, and that's pretty cool. Because all of everything we've been doing for the last 2 years, and for the last particularly like year and a half with this show going out in the world, is predicated on you. It's nice because we've got something that can kind of keep you sober. It's a carrot on a stick. It's just like we keep doing the show, that number keeps climbing, life keeps getting better, everything's copacetic. So I thank you for staying sober. I thank all these people who always listen to the show, come out and see the show, because essentially it's like an intervention podcast, and we get to keep you around. But it's just sad because everyone else gets to get fucked up during the show, and you have to just sit there and kind of be straight.
Drink my snooch juice.
I see that. You tend to write on everything that you drink with a marker.
My special juice is gonna help me win.
We need to add something for we always ask, how long you've been clean and sober, and you have a number and everyone applauds. I always feel left out. We need to add, you need to ask me, how long you been smoking weed? And then I'll be like, 4 fucking years. And everyone's like, woo!
Yeah.
But it'd be a nice element, but it'd be confusing for people where they're like, I don't get it. Does this podcast celebrate sobriety? It's like, kinda. But the other day, when we were sitting out on the balcony at the hotel, and I was enjoying some of your fine local product, and thinking, just centering and taking little journeys and shit like that. That's the best time when, it creates space for me and whatnot. Weed doesn't give you creativity. It just inhibits the thing or the aspect of you, the little voice that would be like, nah, don't do that. Like, we get a lot of great ideas all the time, like a billion good ideas a day. And there's always a nagging little voice, or it doesn't even have to be nagging. It's just that voice of doubt that's just like, nah, don't do it. Like, nah, somebody else is doing it. Oh, don't do that, you're gonna fucking fail. Weed just smokes that voice away. Like, so it's still there, but weed, you just fill your head with so much smoke that he's like, don't do it. He can't get it out and stuff, so you smoke your way through it. So I was smoking the other day, and I'm on the balcony here in London, and we're at a hotel, like right outside Hyde Park and stuff. Really good looking area and shit. So I'm looking out and I'm smoking, getting centered. And I was just like, all right, I got an idea. We should do a fucking TV show where it's Jay and Silent Bob are on their way to Amsterdam, finally. And they have to stop through London Heathrow. And then something bad happens at London Heathrow, and then they can't fucking leave, so they wind up being stuck in England. And since British TV shows only do like 6 episodes, we would only ever have to do 6 episodes. We wouldn't have to keep going. That's the thing that kills you, man, where people are like, wait, what's next? And you're like, here's another thing. Like, great, what's next? You have to keep going. British, they get it smart. They're like, there's only 6. Fuck off, after it's done. So I was like, man, we do 6 like really strong fucking episodes, and it's Jay and Silent Bob stuck in England, and essentially each episode is themed to, fucking British literature, or fucking like incredibly historical characters or well-known characters, like, fucking you do a King Arthur episode, you do a fucking Robin Hood episode, you do a Doctor Who episode, you do just all that shit, and you play with all the kind of tropes of that country and whatnot, and go international with it, because we're so like centric about, America, we make movies about where we are and stuff, but the idea of taking our characters and going to England with them, and I sat there for like 45 minutes just going, and then this would happen, and then this would happen, and I was making myself chuckle on the balcony. And then I went inside and I went to sleep, and I woke up the next morning and I forget every fucking good idea that I fucking had, which is probably for the best, because I don't know if that's something you necessarily want to do. I kind of like the fact that Jay and Silent Bob are now characters that we discuss more so than actually play, because we are getting older, and I don't know, like every once in a while I have to put on the backwards baseball cap because like my hair is all fucked up or something like that, and I do it, and I don't look like Silent Bob anymore. I look like Silent Bob's fucking father. So the notion of playing them, I can't really get my head around, but I sure like talking about it. And now the characters have kind of become a blanket for us to talk about kind of what we do here and what we've done in life and more about you. So I don't know. I mean, I know we got a cartoon coming. That's where I think our characters live and breathe really well. And Mewes produced this cartoon movie, which is a Jay and Silent Bob cartoon movie, which is really fucking dope, man. Really dope. And what we were talking about is bringing it over here to tour, same way that we're touring with this, but essentially show the movie and then afterwards do Q&A and turn it into a podcast kind of thing. And that is something that is all predicated on your sobriety, to go back to it, man. Like you wound up producing a fucking movie. Like back in the day when you were doing a fucking heroin, you couldn't produce a fucking heartbeat. And now, you know, because you get clean and sober, you stand on the threshold of producing a movie, of producing a lot of things, man. So it's not, you know, for everybody. A lot of people can imbibe and control themselves and keep it tasteful. You never could, so fortunately it's something that you had to give up. But now that you've given up, it seems like you've gotten a lot more in return for it. So congratulations, sir. That always fucking feels
Thank
really
you.
neat. All right, man. We like to play games here at Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. We like to bring people from the audience because, you know, unfortunately you come to this show, it's real not interactive. You sit here and watch two guys talk to each other, but we like to reach out to the audience, bring them up here, play games with us. We have a favorite game, and it's one of my favorites because just like my real sex life, I don't have to do anything. I just sit here and watch a thin person get very sexual. The game that we play is called Let Us Fuck. Now, for those unfamiliar with the game, it's basically, you see Mr. Mewes getting limber, doing some stretching and whatnot. You just scared everyone off the game, dude. What we do is you volunteer, you come on up here on stage, you meet Mr. Jason Mewes here, and then we give you a sexual position that you guys then have to go off and interpret. So, like, you know, somebody's standing next to Jay, and we say something like, you know, fucking Boba Fett up the butt, or something like that. And then they go, okay, and then they go away and figure out, and then they come back and enact what that sexual position would look like for us. They mime it. There's no penetration, so don't worry about pulling a tarp over yourself or anything. No fluids are gonna fly. But you have to be kind of a willing participant, and you do have to get pretty damn physical with Mr. Mewes. I say give it your all. But we need volunteers. Who wants to fuck Jason Mewes? Way in the back, come on up. Way the dude in the dark, come on up. There's one right there. Blue right there, we'll take you. Yeah, totally, come on up. Anyone close to the stage? Right there, hand up, yeah, you.
Yeah.
All right, 3, come on up, find your way to the stage.
Come on, Dan. Over here, look. Good
follow
Jeff,
that guy
over there.
and he'll get you up here. Oh, this guy's climbing
There
up
he
right
goes,
here.
look at him.
Well done.
It's cracked in America. No,
All right, come on over here, young sir.
Nice
to meet you. What's your name?
Eric.
Eric, where are you from, Eric?
Israel.
Eric's from Israel. Does anything in your religion prohibit you from doing this?
Well, many things, but I'm not gonna listen.
Today I am not a Jew. Good for you, sir. Okay, Mr. Mewes is going to be your partner. We're going to give you a position to go with. Let's see. We come up with wacky names for them and whatnot, so of course none of these positions are real. In honor of the story you told tonight, the first position that you two guys are going to figure out will be called Mewes pulls a flesh knife on the London brown eye. There you go.
Yes.
All right, so go figure out what that's going to look like. Meantime, I'm going to talk to one of these fine cats. We'll do color commentary. Come on over here, man. How are you? It's so weird to see a girl. We never get girls normally. Come on up. What's your name? Tell them your name.
Hannah.
Hannah, right on. Do you do this often? Fuck strangers on stage?
It's a hobby of mine.
Then boy, you're in for a good show because it's a hobby of his too. Not so much a hobby as a way of life. Where do you live? Where are you from?
Milton Keynes.
Where?
Milton Keynes.
Milton Keynes, right on. That's a town?
Yes.
I thought they were like, that's my father, and I'm from Milton Keynes. Fair enough. Did you come with a dude?
Sorry?
Did you come with a dude?
One and one girl.
Lucky you, man. Look at you. You're like, I'm from Milton Keynes and I'm undecided. All right, we're going to watch some action here. You guys ready?
Yes.
Eric and Jason are going to show us a sexual position known as Jason Mewes pulls a flesh knife on the London brown eye. Take it away, Mr. Mewes.
Let us fuck. Yeah.
That was so erotically charged, man. And it's nice to see you didn't get fucking thrown off this time. Ladies and gentlemen, does he deserve a poster for that?
Yes.
Congratulations, sir.
All right.
Okay. Come on up.
So, you still want to play after that?
Yeah, now that you've seen it, is this still something you're interested in?
Totally.
Fair enough. Okay, we need a new sexual position. Let me see. The lone voice in the darkness, who I'm pretty sure was God, has given me an idea. One more time. Great Britain, rectally smitten. Go figure that out. I'll take this mic. We'll talk to this guy. I don't envy them. What's your name, man?
My name is Dan De Silva.
Right on. Where are you from?
I grew up down in Cornwall. I don't know if we've got anyone from Cornwall.
Woo! Did you hear that? But there was one chick, two chicks, man. Maybe they're like, we only fuck Cornwallians. In which case, you are fucking in luck, man. Where is that in relation
it's way
to this?
down, like, you know how there's kind of like a foot shape on the end of the country, right down the pointy bit?
I thought that was Italy.
That's like, so it's like, it's in that bit. It's like lots of beaches, kind of nice.
Right. Oh, it's about beaches and shit.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time.
It's the California of England.
Is it really? So weed is legal?
Pretty much, yeah.
Right on.
It's a big art college, so pretty much, yeah.
Okay, you guys ready for this?
Yes.
Okay. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Great Britain rectally smitten. Mr. Mewes, take it away.
Let us fuck.
Oh my God, man, you got properly fucked. Ladies and gentlemen, does she deserve a poster? Okay, how you feel now? You've seen two go down, literally. How do you feel about this? You okay to go forward?
I'm ready.
He's ready. Right on. Good to know. Okay, we need another sexual position. Good one came from the audience last time. Hold on, there's a girl. A girl was suggesting it. Hold on, say it. That is so cute, man. That's like a dirty joke you could tell your mother. Riding Nelson's column. You guys are gonna go interpret Riding Nelson's column for us. Go off, do that. You can leave that there. Meanwhile, I'll talk to you. Come on up, man. What's your name?
Hello, I'm Jodie.
Hello. Jodie, where are you from?
Australia.
Get out of here, man.
I'm here.
There's a few people there. And then a few people weren't happy about it. That's all prison island.
They've let me back.
What are you doing here? You go to school out here or something?
No, I've been here for like 5 years, so I work here.
What do you do?
Music agent.
What is it?
Music agent, like
music
DJ agent. Yeah.
Really? So you couldn't do it there? You were like, fuck it, I want to do it
Music's
here?
better here, man.
Yeah, right on. Right on. Well, way to take a job away from someone here, man. That's awesome.
Foreigners,
I hear the country's doing well financially, so. Mr. Mewes, are you prepared? Look at
Yes,
that.
I am.
Limber. Okay, the name of the sexual position is climbing Nelson's column. Yeah? Riding, sorry. Riding Nelson's column. Mr. Mewes, take it away.
Let us fuck.
What I love about them is when they lose themselves in it, man. He got you from 3-4 different angles and fucking got your mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, does he deserve a poster?
Yeah!
We'll win him back. Okay, last sexual position. Yeah, she's got you on a shirt, man.
Yeah.
Last sexual position of the evening. You guys have done a good twice now. I give it back to you. Hold on. Somebody said teabag. Say it again. Hold on. Hold on. Who was that? Which one? Beautiful. The sexual position you two will be enacting for us is the Great British Tea Bag. Go figure it out. This gives us a moment alone. How are you? Ladies and gentlemen, have you been enjoying it so far? I enjoy it, man. I love watching his face. This may be the most amount of people that have ever been at one of our shows in one place. So thank you. So when he came out, I usually watch his face to see the wonder, because I remember when we started doing this about a year and change ago, or almost coming up on a year. We started in Orlando. One of our first biggest shows was in Orlando, Florida. And we came out and there was like 1,600 people. And his face just fucking like he was shocked. He was like, this many people are here to see me speak. So tonight when we came out, I was like, I can't wait to see his face, because there's way more people than fucking that. And I gotta be honest with you, I stopped looking at his face, because when I walked out, I was like, holy shit. I was impressed, man. You guys filled every fucking seat in this place, so I thank you from the bottom of my heart, man. Ladies and gentlemen of London, we're about to see the last sexual position of the night here on Let Us Fuck. Hopefully it's epic. The name of the position is the Great British Tea Bag. Take it away, Mr. Mewes.
Let us fuck.
I say that deserves more than a poster, man. We got for you some podcasts, and we got a bumper sticker, and you should take a bumper sticker for your friend as well. Because, oh my God, I thought you were gonna break your fucking neck, man. Like at first I was impressed, because I was like, he could fucking lift that girl up. And then I watched your fucking head and neck sailing toward the deck, and I was like, Jay and Silent Bob get sued, man. Did she win, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah!
People of London, have you enjoyed yourselves this evening? Cannot thank you enough for being here. We're going to be back as soon as possible, and when we come back, trust me, it's going to be with the Jay and Silent Bob super groovy cartoon movie. So we'll see you before the end of this year, but for now, that's Jay and Silent Bob for this week. I'm Kevin Smith.
Jason Mewes!
Go get old, everybody. Good night, London!
first show, we were going to be announcing Snooch Juice. Look at this right here. Snooch Juice. This is going to be the new thing. So, love it, dude. And it's all nice and fully. All right, let's check out the place, guys. That's sexy, brother. So while everyone here for Jay and Silent Bob Get Old Tour are laying in bed napping, we're seeing fucking good old Scotland with William Wallace. We're gonna go back up around here because this is the view of the castles and all that, and I'm very excited. We just decided to smoke 2 cigarettes before we went up these hills. Not a smart idea. I think we gotta get over more, man. Fuck, we're going too far, bro. How odd is that? Look at the man with the pig under the tree. How genius is that, man? What? Chambers Street. Didn't we see Chambers Street, or is that Chambers Street? We just gotta remember we gotta veer off. That one or the next one. All right, let's go over here. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Ooh, look at this. Nice. So I think if we go that way.
If you follow this road all the way up here.
Yeah.
Up here through the traffic lights, then take the first left, and then up round here, up Chambers Street,
okay.
Take it right to it.
And then to the castle, we just could keep going
just go
around.
back up there, and then up into the castle.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
All right, kids, we made it, man. It's called a rocket snot. All right, that's it. We did it. We made it to the top. And it was beautiful. We saw walls, cannons, walls and more cannons, and a view to kill and die for. And that's it for us in Scotland. Let's go do the show, baby.
4 and 3 and 2 and 1. What up? Jay and Silent Bob Get Old for good. Everybody say yay.
What you wearing?
I got my Scottish outfit on. I got a kilt, a pooch.
Jay, turn around. You have pleats all the way. Yeah.
These plants are in the front.
Well, he doesn't have a pin. He has pleats all the way around.
Oh, you got a pin?
Yeah, no. The pin goes in the front.
Welcome to Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. Now here are your hosts, Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith. Holy shit!
Every saga has a middle age, and this is what happens when Jay and Silent Bob get old. I'm Kevin Smith.
Jason Mewes.
Wow, man, big fucking crowd. We are in Edinburgh, Scotland this evening. As you can hear, land of castles and fried Mars bars. And a place so fucking tough, nobody says shit when a dude wears a dress. I've been here, I was here to do the Clerks 2, and then after that I did a show, I guess it was in Glasgow, and I got a kilt. Was it? Couple Glaswegians in the audience. So I was there doing a show, and you know, when in Rome, fucking wear a dress. So we went to find a kilt, but as you might imagine, they don't stock them in my size. So I couldn't just go buy a kilt off the rack, man. I went into the kilt store, and the dude's expression changed like, I wish we had more tartan, you know, just, we could make a mint off this dude. They called around, they found a rental kilt, which I guess they have, like, you could rent a kilt here like you could rent a fucking prom suit at home. Like, you could just go in and be like, give me a kilt for an hour, wear it, and give it back. So they found a rental kilt place that just happened to have a, you know, fucking too fat to fly size. And so they rocked it to me so I could wear it on stage and stuff. And I dug it so much, and it was such a great night and whatnot. I was like, I got to keep this and shit. So I was just like, what's the protocol? Like, what happens if you just... I hadn't thought I'd have to blow the guy, but, you know... I thought, you know, I'll just get on the plane with it and shit. But that was all tight until the moment I got into American airspace, because I thought somebody'd be like, right, you know, because I walked away with someone else's fucking property and shit. But there was a deposit on it, a little bit of down. I think it was like 100 pounds or something like that. They got to keep that. I got to keep the fucking kilt. And it has a goddamn sword on it.
Wait. I know, mine don't have
The
a
pin
sword.
alone was badass. It was just like, holy shit, look at that fucking sword. But you can't put it in your luggage, because in America they'll be like, hey, terrorist. So you have to put it underneath.
So you stole it, pretty much.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yeah. But that was in Glasgow. Fuck that. Nobody gonna bust me here. Don't you fuckers go home and tell. How's it feel, man? He was a little jealous. I was like, I'm gonna wear my kilt. He's like, where'd you get killed? This was, of course, after the conversation that was like 10 minutes long, where he's like, who got killed? And then I was like, no. It's a real Abbott and Costello routine for a while. And I was like, it's the outfit, man. It's the standard dress for dudes. Like, you can wear it and whatnot. And he was like, I want to go get one and shit. So I was like, oh, I'm sure you could find one on the rack. I'm sure you don't have to go to rent a kilt for fat guys or something like that. So he came back with it, and he looks adorable in it. Stand up. Now, this is an important part of the story. Come here, I need your help. You need to hold this. You know, it's one thing to come out in the kilt and whatnot and celebrate the local custom. Just hold it like you're a fucking mic stand. There you go. But there are those of us who are practical, like you're a fucking mic stand into my mouth, who come prepared like, you know, I'm not gonna wear a kilt the whole night and stuff. So I basically wore my jorts underneath my kilt. And I just don't wanna show you my dick, so there you go. So now I wore my jorts underneath. I didn't go full commando. What do you got under your fucking skirt, man? Why? Now, is the idea that you're supposed to have nothing there?
You want an ass and balls.
Take your underwear off right now. That was so graceful, dude. There's no way you could ever...
Smells like pussy. Wow. Ooh, I feel naked now. Wow.
Well, you are naked.
I don't know if I can handle this. I'm bare naked under this now. No.
From the high and the top. Show us! All right, man, now you're fucking...
Ooh. Is there a front here? No? Okay, good. My nuts are like right on the seat right now. They're just laying on the seat.
What's gonna be really amazing is at the end of the night, we always play a game called Let Us Fuck. Tonight, you might actually fuck, man.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to throw them back on. Otherwise, my nuts are gonna be sliding across the ground. Oh, it's gonna be a mess.
Sometimes you get active during the show, and he'll do like a diving slide. Don't do that tonight.
And then like a little cum will drip out of my penis. Because I had sex earlier, and you know, like I don't always squeeze it all out.
What do you mean?
Sticks.
What?
I see. When I have sex, you know, you come, and you got to give it like the. Like I always pull out, and I'll be like.
So fucking when you're done, you pull out. Your good lady wife has to watch you milk yourself.
Yeah. I do.
She's like, I was just kind enough to let you fuck me, but now I gotta watch you be like.
Well, see, I beg her to, my favorite is to pull out and then for her to jump up and jerk me off and maybe. But she usually is like, no. And she's like, maybe this. And then she'll be like.
Well, wait, you want to jump up? You're like fucking in the moment of truth. You want to be like, okay, and then hop all the way up and slap her around with it or something like that?
Not really slap her around. Like, I would just like her to just keep, like, finish it off like this. Maybe. And that would be my ideal situation. I always tell her, too, I'm like, when you're going to come, tell me. And if I'm on the bottom, I'll be like, when you're going to come, jump up and sit right on my face. And you're just like, and then it's like, slide up and down. And she's like, no, I ain't going to do that. But I just want, it's like, the thought of it just being like.
But is the only reason you're asking her to do that? So if she says this, you could be like, my turn, wee.
Well, but that and because I don't know, that's exciting just to be like, and then all of a sudden you go look in the mirror and you look like a glazed donut and shit. You're like, so, but she never goes for either one. She doesn't want to jump up and make the move, and she doesn't want to really have me doing it. So she'll just reach down and be like. And
she gives
really
you more of a fucking courtesy jerk more than anything else?
And barely. It's more, again, she really does. Like, she looks away, she'll be like.
More of a discourtesy jerk? Just
yeah. So it's just better if I milk it and I go. But then sometimes she'll give me the courtesy and it doesn't really milk all the way. So like I said, right now there's probably like just a little bit dripping out.
Oh, we're back to that's how we got to this. I was sitting here going like, how the fuck did we get to him coming? And it's because you don't want to drip on the stage.
Yeah, I don't want it to drip out and shit. Just like I have a turtle head sort of right now. I should probably put these back on because I am going to probably get up and do stuff. And come on, we don't want my nuts sliding around and stuff. Next thing you know,
I don't know, man. It adds an element of danger to the show. It's kind of like suddenly you're really doing the show without a net, man. You're like, whatever happens, happens. You know.
It's true. It's like no net. No net.
Yeah. All right. So wait a second. You had sex before you came? You've been having sex on the road a lot?
I have. Because I keep trying to either wherever the hotel, like we've been in a bunch of different hotels and some of them have really nice views. And I don't know, I get into stuff like that. I get into like I said, jumping up on the face, being a donut. Or I'm like, come on, man, just push, this bench right here would be perfect if you kneel on it and you press your face against it. And I'm behind you and we're looking at the view and shit. I'm like, oh, shit, look at that castle. Oh, yeah, look. Ooh. But.
Why is it? I'm sure Jordan is just like, how come I'm never enough? Why do I have to glaze your face like a fucking donut or show you the wonders of the world through a window? Look at me, motherfucker.
It's like a tour bus. They should have in those little things when you look through and it's like, go on the sightseeing of the castle where the fucking Stone of Destiny is and the crown jewels. Also, fuck on the bench and look at fucking the big fucking mountain and castle.
Like a straight up honest travel guide?
Yeah. So it's part of the whole thing and shit. You pay a couple extra and they like clean the window maybe. They give you like the perfect little bench. It's like they fucking, like when you get a massage and you put in those chairs and they go click, 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 click. And sort of like with the perfect height, they should have like a bench. Someone comes in, they're like click, 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 click. So like if she's down here and I have to kneel, I'm like, I want to be standing up like this. They'll be like click, 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 click. And then she'll be like, perfect height. Ooh, it's airy. So I'm going to work on that.
That was dangerous right there, man. Yeah.
I felt a breeze come right in on my ass and shit and my nuts. Like when the breeze gets on your nuts and you can see all the hair follicles, like your nuts tighten up, they go, and then your fucking hairs get all pointy like a porcupine.
I haven't seen my nuts in 30 years. I don't know what's going on down there, to be honest with you. It's been quite some time. Every once in a while, I think I see a shadow of them and stuff. If I'm laying down and Jen's fucking me because I lay down, she gets right on top and stuff. Because if we go the other way, I lose my balance. Crush. So I'm always like this and stuff, and every once in a while, like we'll have sex without all the curtains closed. You're the opposite of me. You're like, I like to look out the window and see anything but the person I'm fucking. I'm the other way. I'm like, I like to close the windows and curtains because I don't want anyone to see the shame that I'm going to put her through. So every once in a while, there's just enough light, man. And she gets off, you know, when we're done fucking and whatnot, she goes immediately to take a whiz all the time or something. I got the kind of cum that just makes ladies have to take a whiz, I guess. Just a bladder tickler, man. Goes straight up, and she's like, I gotta go, and right to the fucking bathroom. And every once in a while, as I'm sitting there and she gets off me, I look, and over the ridge of my gut, I think I see the tip of my dick head. And off like the light on the sheets, maybe the shadow of my balls. But that's like it. I don't get to see them as frequently as you see yours. But to be fair, I've probably seen your balls more than I've seen my own in my entire lifetime. Because you're very free with them. You whip them out and shit all the time.
What do I get on the table here? And you just go. You blow right on my balls, and you can watch them go. Right? If I got up right now and lifted it up,
yes,
it would be there. My nuts would be right there, and my little brown would be staring you right in the eye and shit. You can be like this.
I'm working like an Elmer Fudd bit where I'm like, no more bullets.
But yeah, and then every once in a while, I'll lift my legs up and shit, and I'll look at you. Never sit and look at your nuts or look at your ass?
I can't, dude. No.
What if you put a mirror there and you go like this?
I try to stay away from mirrors in general, especially from that fucking angle, dude. Like, a fat man never squats over a mirror. If a fat man squats over a mirror, it's like fucking seeing Bloody Mary in the mirror. You gotta kill yourself right there.
I looked at my ass once because I had this hemorrhoid, right? And I was playing with it. But when I was rubbing it, it was weird because I'm like rubbing it. I washed my finger after, but first I went... But I was rubbing it, and it felt like there was a stone. Like I couldn't really visualize it. I could feel it, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense, man. It feels like a grape, someone cut in half, glued to my asshole, and then when I felt inside, it felt like there was a seed in there or something. So I'm like, I was like, I wonder if it looks like a grape. So then I put a mirror down. I sat and spread my ass and looked at my asshole, and then I sit and wind up watching my balls, and then I watch them go.
Here's the thing. I remember asking, hey, you have fucking your wife lately? And then suddenly you went into like a 20-minute diatribe about your asshole and your cock.
Oh, yes, but so we've been fucking.
Yeah.
We've been... The good thing is because of the show, I'll like try to like manipulate, and I'll be like, man, for me to have a fun show tonight, I want to make everyone really happy, so I'd probably do a better job if I came. And she's like, yeah, but I don't really, I don't want to. I'm like, yeah, but it'd be awesome. But we had sex last night before we left. And while we were fucking, all of a sudden it was like, boom! And I was like, what the fuck? I broke the bed at the hotel. The back of the bed, because it was like a platform bed and it had these little things. But I felt like a champion afterwards. Afterwards, I was like...
A victory milking, if you will.
Yeah, I milked it, and then I felt a little even more dirty because the bed broke, but then I was milking it all over the fucking carpet and shit. I was like... Because I looked around for a towel, and I was like, oh.
So they get into your room, and they're just like, the bed's broke, there's cum all over the joint? This is like Basic Instinct in this fucking room.
I know, it was a little... And there's garbage and shit, but... but we have been fucking, and it's been awesome because, again, I think the different, it's like romantic places we're going, to me anyway.
Have you ever been here before?
I've never, ever been here before, and I'm very excited. We got out of the airport, and I was like, ooh, castle, ooh, there's like all these cool buildings. Sorry, I'm excited. I really am. Yes.
He was really taken with the notion, like, before we got here, and we're talking like months ago when they put the tickets on sale and stuff. He was just like, where is Scotland? So I took him over to fucking the map, and I was like, here, this is it. It's over here. It's part of the UK, and blah, blah, blah. And so he kind of took an interest, and I guess he looked it up on Wikipedia, because the next day he was like, do you know how many castles are in Edinburgh? And I was like, Edinburgh, you mean Edinburgh? And he's like, no, man, Edinburgh. And I was like, why? Well, because it's got a GH. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, they pronounce it Edinburgh. And he's like, that's fucking dumb. And I was like, why? And he goes, because we don't pronounce Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh. And I was like, wow, that's the smartest fucking thing you've ever said, man. But I've been here before. I love this town. I came here with Clerks 2 to the Edinburgh Film Festival a few years ago. And not only was it just a killer screening and did one of a Q&A there with the fest director, Shane, it was also, we got home and they were like, hey man, you won the audience award. Like, we won the audience award for Clerks 2 at the festival. So Edinburgh will always be very near and dear to my heart. Thank you. But for you, it's fucking, I've been here before, but it's like fucking, you're prima nocta, bitch. Like, this is your first time, man. Prima nocta. Your first night. You're prima, brave. Didn't you watch, you've seen Braveheart?
I have seen, yeah. But what does that have to do? What does that have to do with prima? Wait.
I've seen Braveheart, but what's prima nocta have to do with it? Whole fucking movie's predicated on prima nocta, dude. The king, like, Braveheart's getting married, and he's what's his name? William Wallace. Sorry, William Wallace getting married. They're like, he's a fucking national hero, man. I'm like, all right. William Wallace, at least according to the movie, and that's all I know from, based on the fucking movie I saw and shit. He was getting married, and I guess there's a rule, it was British rule, and Scotland was under British rule, I guess, at the time. And they said, the rule was, king could call prima nocta rights. You know, because you have all these people living on your land. The idea of the king is, I own all this shit, and all these people live here, and I own them, and they work the land and fucking give me shit. But this is my land, my people, I can do what I want. So the rule was, on somebody's wedding day and shit, the king or some nobleman, not just the king, right? Noblemen in general? Yes. Could just come in, I guess. Could just come in and say, like, hey man, I'm gonna, happy wedding, I'm gonna go fuck your wife now. And then walk away with him, and the dude couldn't do anything about it. He just had to sit there and take it. Would probably drank a lot more that night. But you know, you just had to fucking deal with it and shit. And if I remember the movie correctly, because I haven't seen it in a while, but William Wallace was like, fuck that, no. And somebody came to like take prima nocta rights with his wife, and he was just like, yeah.
Well, I remember that
and that's
part.
where it began, man. Like, the rebellion begins there. He starts taking motherfuckers out and shit. And so a lot of things happen in a movie. Eventually, they paint their faces blue. I remember that. And if I remember correctly, they win the war by mooning everybody.
Well, I remember
I think it had a happy ending, if I remember.
I remember when the dude cut her throat, and I remember the part when he was like running up the side of the house, and he was like, hip hip Dugan.
Yeah. Oh no, it's fucking. He don't hip hip Dugan it. It's pimp, doesn't he? Come, if I remember correctly, he comes like down like a fucking, like from the end of the road, like a little road and shit. He has a long walk right up to the dude. He's not on a fucking horse, man. He's just walking.
Oh yeah, but he was doing that while I was walking. How awesome would that be? Everyone just like, what the fuck's he doing? That's how he distracts.
This guy's pretty confident. How come you weren't around when Mel Gibson was making that movie to give him ideas and shit, like Homer? So he winds up rebelling, and then they take on, you know, the Brits and whatnot. It's all about breaking from England. He gets killed. He gets martyred at the end. They cut him open. Remember, they put him on. They draw and quarter him and shit. Open him up, take his guts out. It's fucking.
I remember it was sweet because he was laying on the table and he looked over and he saw his lady.
Yes.
And he,
oh my God, you're gonna
dropped,
make me cry.
And he dropped that little neck piece.
Yes.
And he was like, I'll see you soon, baby, and we shall fuck. Didn't you hear him say that? He didn't say freedom. He was like, fucky.
I'm relatively sure if you go to Wikipedia, there's nothing about fucky on William Wallace's page, dude. But that was prima nocta, man. They could come in and just fucking take your wife away and stuff.
I think
for the night, not forever. I don't. It was just for the night, I think. But you could be.
They
first.
had one
So
night
weird.
they could, but then back then too, didn't they save themselves? Probably, right?
Yeah.
So not
it
only
wasn't
did
like
he,
now, where fucking.
Yeah, not only did he get to have sex with his lady, he had to get the break her cherry too, right?
Prima nocta.
Yeah.
That's why he was so
That's
pissed.
what prima
dude.
nocta means. Bust that cherry.
I don't think so, but.
But that's what I'm saying. They're virgins, right? So that means if the noblemen get to come and take them.
Yeah.
I mean.
On the first night, meaning first. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess, but I don't think it means fucking cherry busting. No.
But that's probably the buildup, right? You get waiting to get married. You're like, when we get married, I get to fucking have sex with her and be the first.
Yeah.
But no, then the nobleman comes in and he's like, get away, mate. He throws her in the bed.
Wait. Is that your accent?
That's my bad accent.
Here's my
Give me one.
question. Have you ever heard the Scottish people speak?
Someone tell me. No. Well, in a little bit. I've been walking down the street. I got to walk down the street a little bit, and I got to hear a little bit.
It's a thicker accent than you're used to.
Let me hear a little bit. Say, get away from my lady, motherfucker.
Why don't you ask one of them to say it?
Yeah, right there, nice. Get away from my lady, motherfucker. And then I grab her and I throw her up on the horse. And I'm like, hurry up. I'd grab her and I'd toss her around. And then I'd be like, on the horse, slow-mo. Fuck you, motherfucker.
I forget, you started off as the bad guy, but then suddenly you turned into the good guy in the middle of the sketch. What happened?
Oh, wait, okay, yeah. I'm the wait, that was him. That was the bad guy grabbing one of the dudes and no, wait. I like it, though. Get away, motherfucker! No,
I don't think that was
I know,
it.
I'm bad. I'm horrible. Sorry.
You gotta watch Train Spotting, dude. If you watch Train Spotting, you can pick up the accent. Remember fucking Spud, who he's like, my pleasure and other people's a leisure.
Right. Come on. We'll clap for you. I did better.
That's the only Scottish I can actually do.
Do it one more time.
My pleasure and other people's a leisure. The other one is sex, Spud. Casual sex. That's how they say sex. If you were gonna ask for sex, you can't be like, can we have sex? You have to be sex.
Sex.
I would like to have some sex with you. You. And you have to hold out you, like YouTube.
You. Let's have sex, you. We fuck. Motherfucker. You and I have some sex, motherfucker. I'm gonna just go around tomorrow doing that all morning. Come on, what up, sex, motherfucker? I'm just like, I was just pretending.
Before we come out and whatnot, I live on Twitter, so I go and check tweets that people write. And so every once in a while, people, on Hollywood Babylon, Ralph likes to do the shout-outs. But here at Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, I felt like maybe we should acknowledge so many people right before the show when they're sitting in their seats or even hours before. So I collected a few of them and just wanted to give you the shout-outs and whatnot. Okay, Robert McEwen says, my wife and I's first night away from our 4-month-old son to watch That Kevin Smith and Jay Mewes Get Old in Edinburgh.
Prima nocta snooch, right? Yeah? Little prima nocta.
You don't take prima nocta with a chick who's a kid, no. Especially it's their fucking first night out in 4 months, dude, and you're like, let me fuck your wife. I hear that's what they do here. Karen Kelly, Baby Chicken 771 on Twitter. She's not here, but she says, I'm home alone. Husband out to see you two. Get old tonight in Edinburgh. Very jealous, which I thought was sweet. And then I kept following her timeline. And her next tweet was about 10 minutes later. And she wrote, what kind of husband leaves his wife home to go watch strange American men talk about their dicks? I'm opening a bottle of wine. So I got interested and I kept following. Because like a little story. Her next tweet was a half an hour later and she wrote, "Who the fuck does he think he is? He gets to go to Edinburgh and what's my mini break holiday? I am Bridget Jones. Bottle number 2, here I come." And she misspelled here and come. The next tweet was 20 minutes later. "Fuck this, I'm gonna cheat on him tonight. That will show him some fucking payback, bitch. Facebooked a total stranger, that's him at the door." 1 hour later. "Hey, while you watch Jay and Silent Bob get old, I watch some dude's balls dangling over my face. Pwned." And then 3 hours later it says, "Kevin Smith hacked my Twitter account." She said, "It's okay, I saw Cop Out and I say someone hacked his directing career." Let's go the first time I was here, dude, for the festival. I came out for Clerks 2, I was talking about. We won the audience award, but it was so fucking strange. We went to a party. You know me, I never fucking go to parties. I never really like to go out. You know, I just stay home, watch TV, or get up right on the internet and shit so I can see how I feel about life in general. They had this party because it was a big year for the fest. I think it was maybe the 50th or 40th. It was one of those like big numbers, even number. And so they were having this party up at the museum. I don't know if it's one of the castles, but it's a museum that has giant paintings of old dead Scotsmen and their dogs. Massive, like huge. You know that big painting of Harley we have in our house?
Yeah.
Double that, and it's a painting of a dude standing in the middle of the Scottish Highlands with dogs. And it's wall to wall, everywhere you look, man. Like if you were the kind of person that would jerk off looking at that image, that place was heaven for you. Oh, you could just sit in a chair and spin and just be like, wee.
So wait, they're standing there. You said
it's just painting. They painted them, you know. So some dude, which always blows my mind, because when you look at it, you're like, how long did they stand there? Because it's not like somebody took a snapshot and said, "I'll work off this." Periodically, they'd have to come out like once a day and stand there with that fucking dog.
But they're dead.
Yes,
Oh,
Jason,
sorry,
they're dead.
Sorry, I got confused because you were like, they have paintings of dead guys with their dogs. I thought they were like, like they're laying there and the dog's sitting there like.
Yes, it's a series of velvet portraits of fucking dogs crying over their lost masters. And there was a cat hanging on a branch that "Hang in there, kid." It was a real museum, and they had a bunch of people there and shit, and everybody who had movies at the festival that year and whatnot, and people were involved, and I guess luminaries in the town. But the whole night, everyone's going, "Sir Sean is here." Sean Connery was going to be there as well. And, you know, I fucking love Sean Connery, and I've never met him. I sat near him once in the Universal Commissary back in 1995. I don't know what he was working on, what he'd be there at that point doing, but we were working on Mallrats. And me and Mosier were sitting at this table with Jim Jacks, the producer, and all of a sudden we heard behind us, you know, the guy going, "I'll have some soup." Just real low and shit. It almost sounded like somebody trying to do a Sean Connery impression and shit. And I was like, who's doing Sean Connery? It was fucking Sean Connery. Oh. And he was sitting there eating his soup, and I'm fucking hitting Mosier, man. I'm trying to be cool, but I'm like, fucking Sean Connery is eating soup. Look. And we just watched him the whole fucking lunch, and every once in a while, he looked up, and he was just like, well, fuck. You know, and he'd spin and fucking try to look away from us. So we felt we were bugging him. We didn't look at him, didn't approach him and shit. Here I am years later, and we're bombing around, and there's fucking Sean Connery. Like, he's surrounded by a couple people. And it was weird because you're like, oh my God, there he is. And he was in full Scottish garb. He had the kilt on and shit. He had a dead rabbit right over his dick. He literally had an animal as a belt. And I was like, that's so fucking butch, you know? People clear, and suddenly there's a direct line of sight. And Sean Connery, he fucking locked eyes with me. And he looks me up and down. And I'm dressed like this with jean shorts on, and just gave me this look up and down like, why is this man dressed this way? And then gave me like eyebrows of like, this is how you come to a party and shit. And I was like, I didn't say anything about you wearing a fucking dress. And I turned to Jen and I was like, we have to leave.
What if he came up to you and he's like, what the fuck you wearing?
That would have been amazing, man.
What if he was like, you put this on right here in front of everyone?
Yeah, he's like, take mine, Junior.
He just pulls it off and his fucking cock's just like. I've seen, every time I see people, every once in a while I'll see someone out when we're back home in LA and stuff, but every once in a while when I'm like that, I'm like, should I say something? Should I say something? But I never want to say anything because, I don't know if I told the story before, but when we were at Kevin and I went to a AIDS benefit, and we were there, and we were eating dinner and stuff.
This is a heartbreaking story, actually. Yeah, I don't think you have told this story.
No. And I was so excited to be there, like, because we got there and we sit down and right off the bat.
Well, first set it up, man. It was this Tom Ford is a designer, and later on he directed a movie as well a couple of years ago or last year. He was doing a benefit for AIDS fashion show. And so we were about to make Dogma. We were heading into pre-production on Dogma. And who was it? Scully from The X-Files, Gillian Anderson. We liked her to play Bethany. And so Harvey was like, well, she's going to be, Harvey Weinstein, Ryan Merrimax, he was like, she's going to be at this AIDS benefit I'm going to. He's going, you should go and sweet talk her there. And I was like, at the AIDS benefit? Yeah. And he was like, business gets done all the time there. You know, I'm giving money. Who gives a shit? You come. And I was like, all right, thanks, man. He's like, you got a tuxedo? And I was like, I barely have any big boy pants, let alone a tuxedo. No, I mean, I rented one for the prom years back and shit. And he was like, oh, you got to get a tuxedo. He's go rent a tuxedo. And I was like, can Jason Mewes come? And he was like, I guess. Is that your date? And I was like, fuck you, he is. So we went. We had to go rent tuxedos and shit. And, you know, it was fun for us because I hadn't rented a tuxedo since the prom. And there was nobody like there, like your mother going, you can't rent that. Don't rent that. Like I remember when I was going to rent my prom tuxedo, I wanted to get, they had like a tie set, vest tie set that had Looney Tunes characters on it. Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and shit. And I was like, oh my God, what a great way to express my individuality by wearing a corporate logo on my chest. So I wanted that. And my mother was like, no, it's too expensive. She didn't care about the lack of individuality. She was just like, pay $50 for something you wear once, you're out of your mind. So I had to wear like the standard rental thing and shit like that. So in this instance, man, in terms of, fuck, I forgot what I was talking about.
Going to the benefit and getting the
right. Oh, the AIDS benefit. Yes. That's right. I got lost in the prom going like, I literally, this was my mindset. As I was telling the story, I swear I had a Jason Mewes moment where I diverted inside and I was like, did I get laid at that prom? I had a bit of unfinished business lurking in my head. Okay, so we go rent our tuxes and shit, and they did have a Looney Tunes vest. So I was like, I'll take one of those, man. And I have it. You can see it in a picture online. I'm wearing it. He got a real cool outfit. Like, he didn't go for the standard tux. He went for aquamarine with like green lapels and shit like that. It just said, I am fucking here, you know? So then we wind up going, it's in Los Angeles, and we get dressed up, and we go with John Gordon, the guy I eventually produced Red State with. And we go to the Tom Ford benefit, and Mewes is like, can I bring a camera? And I'm like, yeah, of course, man. I hear there's gonna be fucking famous people there. So yeah, bring a camera, take some fucking pictures. So he brings a camera and shit, and he's all fucking excited. And it is a star-studded fucking event, man. Like, you know, Tom Hanks is over fucking there, fucking Gillian Anderson's over here, fucking everyone who was it at the moment was fucking there. And Jack Nicholson, the Joker, was there. Now, this is the Joker before Heath Ledger, you know, for those of us who were way into the 1989 Batman, as well as, you know, Jack Torrance in The Shining. This is fucking Jack. He's a Jack fucking Nicholson, a goddamn legend. And this dude was fucking like, you were fucking, your eyes were wide like saucers and shit. And he was just like, I'm gonna go try to talk to them and shit. He's taking pictures. It was really fucking funny. Nobody else there is taking pictures except the media. You know, media's lined up taking pictures and shit. Everyone in the audience is all fucking famous people. Nobody's taking pictures of anything except the one dude who's literally sitting across from a sea of famous people with his fucking camera, which has a big bright flash on it, and just picking them out and snipering them one by one, man. Just picking up and going,
While they were eating, right? Remember they're
while they're eating or while they're talking to each other, so you can see there's two pictures, man. It's fucking genius. There's a picture of Tom Hanks sitting there talking to, I think it's his wife Rita Wilson and some other fucking celebrity, and they're like this, and then the very next picture they're like this.
I got what's her name too with the. She was sitting right across from me, and we're sitting there and we're eating, and then I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna take one." It was Gillian Anderson.
Yeah, she was at our table.
Yeah, and then I was like sitting there, and I was looking at her. I'm like, "I'm gonna take it now," and of course she's sitting there just hanging out, and I go to take it, and right when she does it, she's like, goes to take food, and then she looks up, and I'm like, "Snap!" And she's like. But yeah, I was the only asshole there with the.
It was awesome, man. He's got angry pictures of Demi Moore, you know, being like, you know, frozen in mid what the fuck face. But then we saw Jack Nicholson, and Jack Nicholson walked by, and fucking he goes, "Oh my God, it was Jack Nicholson." And I was like, "Go take his picture, dude." And he's like, "I'm gonna." And he fucking takes off, and then he comes back to the fucking table, like almost in tears, with his head hung low. What happened during the exchange?
So I went up, and at first I took a picture of him, and he was standing by a girl. He was like taking a picture with a girl. And so I was like, I'll take this picture now and get one of him. And then I took another one after she walked away. I took another one. I'm like, but I want to get one with him. So I walk up to him like, "Excuse me." And I'm like, right here. And he's like, and I'm like, can I get a picture with you? And he just goes, and I'm like, well, maybe he didn't hear me. And so he's like, and then I'm like, maybe he just thought
I am kind of soft-spoken.
So then I was like, excuse me. I was like, Mr. And then I'm like, didn't know if I should call him Jack or Mr. Nicholson. I'm like, Jack, Mr. Nicholson. And he's like, I'm like, excuse me. And he turns around and goes, yes. And then I go, can we take a picture together? And he just turns around again, and then and he walks right over to some girl, and I just was like, wah, 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 wah.
So he didn't say anything. He just
he didn't say anything. He just turned around again, and he goes and starts talking to this girl, and of course he takes a picture with the girl again, and I'm just like, man, do I try again? And I'm like, fuck it. So then I go up, I go, hey, I just saw you take a picture with her. I was like, do you mind? Can we take a picture again? And he's like, no. And he just turns around and walks away. And I was so busted up because, again, it was
You should have ran up behind him.
But I think
and been
about
like,
it now.
Here's Jason.
I should have gave someone the camera and be like, okay, look, I'm going to run up on his side. I'm going to get next to him, and I'm going to do this. And then said that and then got it. But anyway, but then after that, I felt like, even though people were getting upset the whole time with me taking pictures, like being like I still was taking pictures, but after that, man, I felt like, oh my gosh, man, I'm a piece of, what am I doing? He would have taken a picture of me. What the fuck?
A little part of your heart died that night.
It did, but then I made up a little bit more because then I was like, you know what? He's a fucking villain anyway, the Joker. And we got to take a picture with Batman.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yes.
right, man. I forgot. You didn't get a picture with Jack Nicholson, but you did get a picture with Michael Keaton.
Yes, I remember you were being like...
And he was so excited. He was like, fuck the Joker. I'm with Batman now.
It was sweet.
Did you ever watch, when I was a kid, I watched a TV show called In Search Of. We've talked about it, I think, on Smodcast or some of the other shows, but it was a show that they ran in the States, and it was my first exposure to Scotland because the show In Search Of was hosted by Leonard Nimoy, who was a few years past Star Trek at this point. It was like 1979, 78, 79, 80 or something. And the show was all about unsolved mysteries, strange phenomena, weirdness and shit. So it was a creepy show where they'd use reenacted footage and whatnot, and then show, people talking about, paleontologists talking about what this rock means and shit. And then they would do all the stories that captured your imagination as a kid. Like they would do Bigfoot, the disappearance of Amelia Earhart, the Bermuda Triangle, shit like that. And of course they did the Loch Ness Monster. 5, 6 years old, I was exposed to the Loch Ness Monster through In Search Of. And when you're fucking 5 and 6, and it's not like, there's no internet or anything like that, you have literally like 3 TV channels to watch. And one of them has this program on that almost like is almost made for you to some degree, because you're a kid that's like into monsters and fantasy and weirdness. And all of a sudden here's a show where fucking Spock himself is just like, you know, there's a monster in Scotland. And you're just like, what the fuck? You know, and then they show a photo, which again, like, you know, now if it was on, you know, you put that photo on the internet today, they debunk it in 12 seconds and shit. But also that picture of Nessie was in the opening credit sequence, because you'd hear Leonard Nimoy be like, strange phenomena, things from another world. And they'd show pictures and shit. And one of the pictures was always the Loch Ness Monster. So the fucking opening credits, every time it would come on, I would get fucking so excited. Like I would have the 6-year-old version of an erection, because it was just like, this is everything I'm interested in life. And whenever they showed that, the fucking Loch Ness Monster picture, I would always go to my parents and be like, can we please go to Scotland? Can we go to Scotland and see the monster that's in the loch? I'm not fucking sure what a loch is. I think it's a Scottish word for lake. We'll have to look up and see if the word bake is pronounced bach, but please take me to see the fucking monster. And it was this place of magic and wonder. You know, it was just like, oh my God, there's a fucking, nowhere else in this world is there a fucking sea serpent or a dinosaur left alive except in this fucking lake in the middle of Scotland. When you're 5 or 6 years old, you don't question that at all. It just doesn't exist anymore. There's no more like real fucking magic. Is there anything that you think about like from your youth where it's just like, oh man, I remember believing in this, and then you grow up and it's just not the case anymore?
I thought all that shit was real, dude. I've never heard anything about it being debunked. Well, except for the Jersey one, because I heard that they were like, oh, let's get the picture like this. And I heard it was their dick. Like they took a picture of their dick and they just took it out of focus. And it was in a bathtub. No, that shit used to interest me, the Bigfoot, because I remember they had the same thing where it was like, real faded, and you see him like, it's almost like he's turning around like they caught him and he's in the woods and he's like,
yeah.
Right? Which is the funniest thing, because you think if there was a real Bigfoot, you'd think he'd be like, what? You know what I mean? If anything, you'd think he'd be like, and like fucking rip the camera guy's head off and shit.
He has kind of the look, the appearance he had was a dude that just got caught either taking a shit or jerking off. Because he is kind of like,
right? He is.
Has the look of like, oh shit, my parents opened a bedroom door.
I remember the Loch Ness Monster too, though. I remember later on, I remember seeing one where it was the same thing, where it was like the head. But what then made it even, people were like, oh my gosh, look, it goes through the water. Because remember, I don't know if there was there might have been different pictures, but I remember somewhat, like the back end went like that, right? It sort of snaked out.
I think you're thinking of Beanie and Cecil, the cartoon.
No.
You think you saw a picture with back to it?
Yeah, there was like, it had some back to it. It was like, no, but... No, I remember it was like the head sticking up in that. But I don't know. I mean, I believed in all that shit. I believed in leprechauns and Santa Claus and stuff. I believe, you know, to a kid, but I don't think I watched as much TV. I used to watch cartoons, and then I used to just go out. My mom, when I lived with my mom, she didn't care. I'd be out in my front yard and shit, like fucking throwing rocks at shit, and we'd be going down to the beach and fucking, I'd try to fish. Like my brother and his friends used to fish, and then I stopped doing that because I remember one time, I was a little bit older than 6, but he threw me in the water off the dock, like where we lived. We had the dock at Miller Beach.
Yeah.
And I remember this fucking asshole threw me in the water, and him and all his friends were like, ha, 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 ha. And I'm like splashing and shit. And then I finally got up to the beach, and I was like, fuck you, motherfuckers. But like crying and shit, and they're just all laughing, so it didn't mean anything. But, you know,
Did you get picked on a lot?
Well, I mean, by my brother and shit, but I don't think other people. I think because
just by a relative and shit.
Just because I was so obnoxious, you know, people in town wanted the older kids would be like, yo, there's that little fucking wise mouth kid. Have him fucking sing with his asshole. And I would sit there and I'd be like, oh,
Don't forget, you don't have underwear on.
But I would sit there and like be in the middle of the street and shit. I'd be singing with my ass. So I'd be like, Carvel, fresh ice kid. And then I'd pull my nuts and my cock through the back and I'd be like doing stupid shit like that. And they'd all be like, oh, this little kid's funny.
I hung out with my brother a lot and he was never like fucking, let me see your dick, bam, or anything like that.
He didn't torture you. Yeah, your brother, well.
And he was fun to hang out with, but he never made me like pay the price or something like that.
Well, I think, again, I think that's a little where I'm a little messed up, maybe. It's from him. But no, I never got picked on by kids.
You got bullied by your brother. I never got bullied by mine. I got bullied like maybe once or twice in my life, and once was at the YMCA in Red Bank. It was me and my cousin went to go swimming in the afternoon. They had a pool there and shit. But we had quarters because video games were real huge. They had a Centipede, they had a Miss Pac-Man. So we had, I think it was 3 quarters apiece to play over the course of like 8 hours, which is like 3 games you blow in the first 10 minutes you're there. And the rest of the time you're begging people like, you got a quarter?
Or checking the slots
and shit. So I had like 2 quarters. I played one game. I kept my 2 quarters, put them in my locker. And me and my cousin went to the locker room and we were going to go swimming. We just played video games and we were going to go swimming instead. And so we closed the locker. It was almost like out of a fucking movie. Closed the door and 3 dudes standing behind the door, man. Like, you kids got money? And they were like a couple of years older than us. Not that much older. And my cousin was like, no. And I was like, yeah, no. And he goes, the one guy goes, hit the little kid. And that was my cousin. And the other guy goes, no, hit the fat kid. And I was like, fuck, why didn't they hit the little kid? And then boom, I got decked in the stomach and shit. And I had my shirt off because I was going to go swimming at the same time. So he hit me. And then the one dude was like, watch it wiggle. Because there's a Jell-O commercial, man, where they were like, watch it wiggle. And dude hit me. And he was like, watch it wiggle. So in the midst of the pain, you're like, it's wiggling. And then my cousin reached into the locker, gave them my 2 quarters, and they fucked off. And I was like, dude, I already took the hit. Like that, you didn't have to give him the fucking 2 quarters as well. And he was like, oh shit, man. He's like, well, I still got 1 quarter. I could still play a game. And I was like, can I have one of your guys at least? Because I just took it in the fucking stomach. That was the only time, man. I remember I wanted to go tell at the front desk. And my cousin's like, no, man, don't be a pussy. You can't tell. You got to suck that up. And I was like, all right. And he was younger than me, giving me this advice.
He's like, I'll just give him your money again.
Yeah. The best way to fucking avoid bullies is kind of doing that. Let me ask you a question, man. We were talking about your youth. How long have you been clean and sober now?
692 days today. Thank you. Wowzers. Whoop, whoop.
It's an integral part of the show. I mean, this is a podcast that's predicated on keeping Mewes clean. We use this podcast as a kind of intervention. Check in on them all the time and keep them nice and clean and sober. So how many days? 692.
692.
So sometimes, there's a lot of talk about sex, and then sometimes there's a lot of talk about crappy shit that happens in life and whatnot. For example, the youth of Jason Mewes is not that stellar. It's not that shining. There are moments, as you've heard, which are pretty sad. Give us one of those moments.
Oh, one of my moments of being a young boy pooping. Like I said, I was allowed to go out, so I didn't really watch a lot of TV because my mom didn't really watch me because what she would be doing to try to score drugs is she would go to like hotels and she would sign in different names and she'd take the fucking, which is funny now because now it'd be much, I wouldn't say easier because now they like lock them down and shit. But there was those big box TVs at the hotel, motels and shit. Remember they were on those arms, and she'd rip them off the walls and they'd fucking go and they'd sell them, and just stupid shit like that. Going to shopping stores, which was the worst for me. And I remember me and my sister, we used to get so bummed out when my mom would be like, "Yo, we're going to ShopRite or Food Town." This was like shopping centers by our house. Because we knew that when we got there, she would bring us around the aisles, and when no one was around the aisle, she'd be like, "Yo, shove this packet of meat in your pants." And she'd make us like shove meat, like I'd have to shove meat in my pants and shit, and then she'd be like, And then we'd walk around a little bit, and she'd throw a couple things in the handbasket. And then she'd have my sister, she'd be like, throw this carton of cigarettes up in your shirt. And she like stuffed cigarettes in the back of my sister's shirt. So it wasn't much fun, but so we used to do shit like that. And then she used to also drive around and make me and my sister or me and my friends reach out and take people's mail, which I feel bad about. I almost feel like I wish I could go back and make amends to all the people in town where I grew up. But then she'd like go through it and only keep the good shit, and then she'd throw it in the lake.
What's the good shit? Credit cards?
Yeah, credit cards, and just like sometimes people send like, here's a $50 bill for your birthday. Oh, which is so horrible now thinking about it. Like some dude sitting home, he's like, I know Nana sends me $100 every year for my birthday. I'm gonna get a new bike.
Except this year.
And I'll say, oh, wow, that's pretty hard. And so, yeah, so then after that, she would take all the envelopes and shit, and we'd drive down to this lake by our house where there was only ducks there, but she would throw all the, like, mail and all the dirt, all the shit she didn't want in the lake. But it was just all that shit was just horrible, and I didn't really get it at the time. I didn't get what she was doing, and then I got a little older, and I remember the first time I really knew what she was doing was when we went to her place where she was staying once. Me and my buddy, we rode our bikes, and she's like, they were screaming like, fuck you, motherfucker, fuck you, and I see him running down, he's like, bitch, I'm calling the fucking cops. I'm like, whoa, what the hell's going on? And she runs out and she takes his bag, and it's like this big, and she's like, shove this in your pants and get out of here. And we're just like, what are you talking about, man? We're gonna hang out. You said you were gonna like make us some mac and cheese.
Your mom was like Judd Nelson in The Breakfast Club? Yeah. Like, keep your unit on you. Like, what was it?
It was a big bag of drugs like that she had wrapped in a Ziploc bag, and she had us run, and she was like, just leave, and I'll find you. Wind up, if I don't see you driving up and down the Ave, which is the main street, I'll find you at the park in a little bit. So we had to drive around, and we were so scared, me and my buddy, because, you know, we went down and we went to the park and we opened it up, and not opened it up totally, but we like looked at it and we knew it was drugs. I mean, didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew it was drugs. And so I sort of knew at that point, and I started talking to her about it, and she would just try not to, you know, she'd be like, oh, I don't want to talk about it, don't worry. I'm gonna get better, you know, I'm gonna get help. I'm not doing it. At this point, she told me she was only selling it for money, that she wasn't doing it or anything. And then I remember the saddest thing was when I was younger at school, they used to come and tell you, if you do coke, you're gonna get hooked and you're gonna, you know. And then I remember we had this joint, which was amazing. There was this guy would dress up as a joint, and he'd be like, hey, kids.
Like a joint?
Like a big doobie, like a big old doobie, and he'd be like, hey, kids, you wanna get high? And then, and it would be like, he seriously wouldn't, he'd be like, kids, now, when you be out there, older kids or bad kids will be smoking, and they'll try to tempt you, and that shit will be calling, you know, be like, smoke me, smoke me, smoke me. Wanna get high? Like he was like do this whole routine, and he's like, you know, telling you that if you smoke weed, it's a gateway drug, and it's gonna lead to coke and this and that. And I was like, you know, at that point I was like, oh shit, if I do coke, weed's not bad, but if I do coke, it's one time I'm gonna be hooked. Or if I do heroin or painkillers, anything bad, like stronger, I'm gonna get hooked. So I didn't do it for a while. And so when I found that my mom was doing it, I remember she had bruises on her hand. And I asked her, and she finally told me that she was shooting drugs and she's going to get better, like she had just gotten in trouble. And I remember one of the first things I asked her too was, do you have AIDS? Because that was the other thing. I thought that I didn't know that, you know, there's clean needles and whatever, and it's not automatic, you know, you have to share with someone or whatever. Later on, then she had told me when she realized that she would start physically showing the sickness, her being sick.
She got HIV.
She had caught it, and when she was going to start showing signs of it, she told me and my sister, and and that's when we moved in. But so yeah, man. So that was it. It was sort of that back and forth.
What's always weird to me is once you see your mom wind up contracting HIV, still you wind up getting into heroin yourself. Like you'd imagine that would be like, oh my God, no way, that'll keep me off it forever. But you still wind up going to a needle. How does that happen?
And well, it was like that again. For a while, I started doing a little bit of coke here and there, and I was smoking weed and I was drinking, and I was like, I'll never do heroin. I was like, I'll never do it. And there was a girl, and I wind up just trying it because I'm like, oh, I don't know why she kept talking. I was like, you shouldn't do that. This is what happened to my mom. Like, stay away. Like, I don't know why you do it. You should get off it. And she's like, you don't understand. I'm like hooked on it, and it's hard to get off. And the feeling, you don't understand how good it is. And I'm like, whatever. I was like, I'm not going to hang out with you. But then I really was into her. So I wind up hanging out with her. And it was my birthday, and I wanted to drink. And she was partying, doing heroin. And I was like, you know what, man, you keep talking about how good this feels. I want to try it. But I didn't want, again, I hated it. And I was like, I'll never do heroin. I'll never shoot heroin. Like I see the effects of it and I don't want to be around it. But then I tried it and automatically, I wouldn't say automatically, but then I started doing like, wow, I get this feeling.
But you didn't shoot it?
I snorted it. And again, then after I snorted it, I was like, you know what? I'll only do it on weekends. And then I was like, but I'll never shoot it. And then it was only weekends. And then it was like, okay, it's only going to be, in Mondays and Wednesdays in the weekends, and then it was every day, and then I was physically addicted to it. And then I was like, you know what, but I'm never gonna shoot it. No matter what, I won't shoot it. I wind up being with this girl again, and she was like, hey man, you know what, we only have 2 bags, and we usually need 3 each just to get out of bed. But if we do it that way, then we only need 1 each. And, I still didn't want to do it, but when I was sick, as you know, like throughout the years, the things I would do, like I sort of got where my mom, the things she did, how she could get there, because I didn't think I could ever get there, even as I was doing drugs and I started doing heroin. It's like as weeks went on and months went on, I'm like, okay, but I'll never steal or I'll never shoot drugs. And then, I stole this, and then, it's things, and I was like, oh, I'll never steal from my friends. And then, one time I took, so some bad shit.
One time you took?
Well, twice. So twice, I did things that I thought I would never, ever do. And then the biggest thing I thought I would never do was use a needle. And then I did the worst thing that after I used the syringe and I started shooting it, I did something, there's all these little things I want to do. And then the biggest thing was I will never, ever share a needle. Like, I don't care what it comes down to, I won't share a needle. Cut to like a couple years later, once I did it, and this was like 5 years ago. Thank God I didn't catch anything. I had hepatitis. Luckily, I didn't get, hepatitis C is easy to catch from sharing, and HIV and stuff. But one time I was really sick, and I met this guy, and I met him in Detox, of all places. Of Detox, right, where I went, you go like 8 days and they help you detox from heroin. And we were there for like 4 days and we're like shaking and stuff. And I was talking to one guy and we sort of, started talking a bunch. And then I was like, I can't stand it here. I'm going to go. I'm going to go home and just deal with the rest of it. And he's like, yeah, me too. So we both left. And then I remember I called him and he's like, yeah, man, I can't deal with it. I'm going to go get something. I was like, you know what, me too, man, I can't do it. And he's like, well, come here and meet me. I'm like, but I have no money right now. He's like, don't worry, I'll get a few bags and then we'll go get some money when we're well and we'll figure it out. So when I get there, he had money, but he only had money for 1 bag. And I'm like sitting there like sweating. I had to take a bus and it was like a long bus. It was like an hour bus ride, 40 minutes. And I remember being there sweating and like so sick from, and all I could think about was getting there. When I got there, he's like, come into this building. There's a good bathroom. And we went in the bathroom. And anyway, he hands me the syringe. And I'm like, well, what's this? He's like, look, man, I only had enough to get 1. And I did half of it and left the other half for you. So even to me now, like, I don't know, thinking about it and talking about it, it's like pretty gross. but again, this is where it took me. And again, so all those years, like with my mom knowing, and I would be like, why can't you straighten up for, so we can live with you? Because we didn't live with my mom. We would live with her for like a year, then she'd get messed up. And we lived with my grandma and then this family and back with my mom. Because after a couple of years, she'd clean herself up. And so, yeah, after I didn't get it, and I didn't get why it wasn't, easy. Not saying it was why it wasn't easy, but I just thought she'd be able to get off of it.
And then you got to a place where you were like, same person as her.
Yeah, and I totally understood, and I
would have imagined when it started affecting your sex life that you would have put it down, because that's all I've ever heard is that, like, the first time it's like, oh, it makes sex amazing, but then, like, sex becomes more and more difficult or something like that.
After, in the beginning, I remember, like, it was almost, because you're sort of numb, like, I'd be able to last forever. I remember, I was dating this girl at one point. I remember when the one girl I was dating, and we started doing it together. It was in the beginning, and that's the girl I tried it with. And I remember that was part of why I liked it, and it sounds ridiculous, but I remember us sitting there, and we'd be like, I did it the first time, and even though I was sitting there, and we'd like be making out and shit, and then we'd be laying there cuddling them, like, it felt like I was like, oh, you're the best. Like, we are one. We are one person, and I like, like in a bad
We are on heroin.
Exactly. It really was. It was like, we are on dope, and we are one. And then all of a sudden we like kiss, and then I'd be like, it's weird when you're on dope, you throw up, but not like when you're drunk or something, or you're sick. You're like, you're not like that. It's seriously like, hey, man, what's going on? Yeah. So anyway, I was talking about, and then I'd be like, oh, what's this? And she's like, but I remember
Didn't you finger your own asshole at one point or something?
Well,
like that?
we got after a while like that, it was nice then, and it was like time passed, and I was like, oh my gosh, I last like a champion. And then all of a sudden it got to where I couldn't come, and I'd be going, and I'd be like, ugh, and she'd be like, all right, we got to stop, it's been forever. But then it gets to the next step where it's like making out, I'm so horny, and like, she's like, come on, let's do this, and all of a sudden, this is one specific time, but it started getting like this all the time. But I remember the first time it happened, I was fooling around, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. Because we had went to New York City, and we were rollerblading and shit. We were hanging out. It was awesome. We went to the park. I was like, this is romantic, and we're on heroin. I was like, this is great. And we're going to fuck hard. And we're like skating around, and we finally get back to the $20 an hour motel, and we get in there, and we're fooling around. And I remember, again, it was all sort of perfect in a heroin type of way. Because again, it was like, oh, we're feeling good, and we start fooling around, and then all of a sudden she's like, come on, let's do this. And I'm like fucking horny, and I feel like it's getting hard, but then I look down and I realize it's not so hard, because I'm like doing this. It's like half soft, but it's hard, and I'm like, and it won't go in because it's like starting to bend at the sides and shit. Like it's like going like this, but bending in half. And I'm like, oh shit. And she's like, come on, what's going on? What's wrong? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm a little fucked up, I think. So I'm like, start jerking off. I'm like, hold on. And I'm like playing with it. And then I used to, this had happened a few times by myself jerking off when I was super horny, and I'd do this. Because it wouldn't get hard, I'd need dough, I'd go. And but I'd roll it, and I remember it was so weird because there would be a couple times.
How is that physically possible? Like, look how rolling you're going, man. It would twist off,
Well, because I would never get it going too far. It would just be a back and forth type of thing.
Weren't you afraid you would start a fire?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, it was the only way, because I couldn't do this because it would be like flopping around. So if I tried to jerk it, it was almost like, it would be like this. It'd be flopping around. So I was like, fuck it.
Does it get there?
And so no, but sometimes it would work, but there would be a few times that I would be I was so horny every once in a while, I would come without it even being hard. It'd be weird, because I'd be like, oh yeah. And then I'd like milk the cow, milk the cow, milk the cow. But then it would be like soft. It would be just sitting there. It would be only like, there'd be a little bit of blood in there and shit. So I thought, well, blood meaning like blood flowing through the penis. The cock.
I mean, to be fair, dude, it was a good assumption where, based on the stories you've told us, you're like, there's some blood in there. The audience is like, in his cum? Oh, God.
There was a little blood and pus in there, but no, I mean, like there was blood flowing through it to keep it a little hard. But, you know, she's like, come on, hurry up. And then she started playing with herself a little bit. So I'm like, you know what will work? I know this works for me all the time. And I'm like, she's like, what? I'm like, why don't you just lick my ass? Lick my asshole. And she's like, no, I'm not licking your ass. So I'm like, fuck. I'm like, but that shit always works when I can't get hard. So I started fucking playing with my asshole and shit. I'm like, fuck it. So I'm like rolling. I'm like rolling a little bit, stroking, milking, playing with my asshole. I'm like trying to like, I'm like, come here, give me a kiss. And she's like, no, just fucking fuck me already. Oh, right there, like this. And she's like, come on, just fuck me already. And I'm like, look, man, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. Why don't you just eat my ass? And she's like, no, motherfucker. She's like, I'm not gonna eat your ass. I'm like, all right, well, let me eat your ass then. So she's like, all right, fuck it. So then I wind up eating her ass, and I'm eating her puss and shit. And then she's still like, look, I'm not getting off and shit. And I just lay there, and I'm like, fuck, man. And she's like, you know what? I should have just fucked Silent Bob. I don't know, that was sort of my go-to move, but not many girls want to eat my ass.
What a surprise.
Well, what's wrong? I mean, I think it's fine. I like eating ass sometimes, a little ass.
No, you're picky too. I've talked to you about girls.
True.
I was like, you eat the ass every girl you date? And you're like, no, they got to be special.
They do.
Speaking of fucking sex with Jason Mewes, we like to play some games here at Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. There's a game that we like to play, and it's called Let Us Fuck. Who wants to jump up here and fuck Jason Mewes?
Who wants
to right there, sure. Come on up. There's one. Someone else over here, right there, front row, right there. Come on up.
Don't do it! No.
Come on up. You're welcome.
Come on. Now you're up.
You didn't wait to go around the stairs, man. Come on over here.
Come on down. Hello.
What's your name, ma'am?
Sharon.
What is it?
Sharon.
Shala, right on. Where? Sharla? Sharon.
Yay. See, now who can't understand, right?
I couldn't quite hear it. Are you from around here? I guess yes, right? What part of around here?
Just outside Edinburgh at Dalkeith.
What did she say? Don't you looking at me like, yeah, he's nodding going, yeah, what she said.
Just right around the bend here.
Right? Yeah.
How are you guys going to communicate to one another about the sexual position? Okay. Will, do you want to go first? Who wants to go first? You know what? Let's go with Slayer first. Slayer, grab a microphone. Tell me what your name is.
Say hello.
What's your name, sir?
Sean.
Sean, right on. You from around here?
Yeah, from Edinburgh.
Okay. You ready to fuck Jason Mewes?
Suppose. I'm not licking his ass.
And he's looking puzzled. He's like, I don't know what he said. This is going to be awesome. Okay, the sexual position that you will lead off the evening, you two, it's going to be called Cum Spilt from My Kilt. Go figure out what that would be. Meanwhile, Sharon, you come over here and talk to me for a sec. Don't let me hang. Come on over. You can bring the microphone. Yeah. I'd prefer it if you brought the mic. How you been, man? Did you come by yourself or you with somebody?
I'm with my fiance.
Your fiance? How long where are you? Look at you, man. How long you guys been fianced?
We've been together for 11 years in May, but we've been engaged for 6 years in July.
You've been together 11 years, but engaged for 6? So you guys are just ready to go, man.
Hey!
What's his name?
Michael.
Michael. Where'd you meet him?
We were friends from when we were young.
So you knew him when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Were you like betrothed as children or something like that?
I didn't like him when I was young.
You didn't like him when you were a kid? Why? Because he was like, lick my asshole. I knew one of those guys.
I was in an accident and I had a head injury, so that's what I say to him. I only liked you after I had my head injury.
Okay, man, you guys ready to do this? This is the first sexual position of the evening. It is called Cum Spilt from My Kilt. Mr. Mewes, take it away.
Let us fuck.
That, my friend, was so erotically charged. That deserves a poster, man. That was damn sexy. Give it up for him. Okay, what's your name, man?
My name is Phil.
Right on.
Phil.
Phil, okay, where are you from? You from around here?
I'm from Glasgow.
Right on, man. All right, then I think you will dig this, man. The sexual position that I'm gonna give for you and Mr. Mewes to enact for us right here and right now is called the deep fried Mars bar.
Ooh.
Go figure that out. We'll sit here and talk to Sharon a little bit more. Come on, closer. I don't have enough microphone cord. When did you guys first fuck?
A long time ago.
Yeah. Like how soon into it? You could say, you guys are gonna get married at this point. 2 years?
2 months.
2 hours? Okay, so where are you gonna do it? Where are you gonna wind up getting married? Out here? You're gonna go someplace else? You're gonna do it in church? Are you a Satanist? What's the story?
I'm not for marriage.
You're not going for that stuff?
Nah, it's not for me.
Where are you gonna go then?
Engagement's enough for me.
Okay. So you're never getting married?
Never. I just wanted the ring.
You, sir, are the luckiest man in the world. Okay, man, here we go. You guys are ready?
Yes.
The position that they are going to enact for us right here on stage, please no penetration, is called the deep fried Mars bar. Take it away, Mr. Mewes.
Let us fuck.
That was it?
He deep fried his Mars bar in my ass oven.
But the whole
Oil.
time he was looking at me.
Oh, but mother, you cheating motherfucker.
Oh, that was unnerving, man. Ladies and gentlemen, did he win a poster? Excellent job, sir. Well done. Well done. I'm gonna see that tonight when I'm going to sleep. Just you going. Let me see. I had for my last sexual position, I had written it would be called the Highlander. There can be only cum, but I always like to leave one up to the audience and stuff. So does anybody have one they'd like to see? Sheepshagger. The position that you're going to show us all right now is sheepshagger. This is the last sexual position of the evening. Take it away, Jason Mewes.
Let us fuck.
Give it up for Sharon the sheepshagger, man.
Ladies and gentlemen of Edinburgh, have you had a good time this evening? Woo! I would like to thank all of you for coming out tonight. It means the world to me. Give it up for my gorgeous co-host, Jason Mewes. That is Jay and Silent Bob Get Old for this week. I'm Kevin Smith.
Jason Mewes!
Go get old, everybody. Good night, Edinburgh, Scotland.
The creepy thing is I already like graveyards. I already take pictures of graveyards all the time.
Hold this, should be my desk.
Usually I get on all four like a table, but we're not today.
We're gonna put the kid out and show the show, man, because I love this face. And she's funny too.
I don't know how weak I was until I was holding this. My legs are giving out. My body's giving out, everybody.